Ey, esa niña no se aguanta. Ey, quiere todo porque él sabe a Fanta. What is good? And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And we're here with the one and only BREAL. And by the way, I would like to apologize to you guys right now for the last time that we did this podcast because I don't remember half of it. We're going to not get there this time. We're going to keep it cute. Michelada, one little drink just to relax the vibes. Snowy cannot be doing that. We are live. What is happening? Thank God I know how to, behave for the most part. I think I did. Eugene caught a stray. Me being like, who the fuck named you Eugene? Then I watched that back. I was like, okay, I could have not said that. That was crazy. But Eugene, how many Eugenes you know?
Now just one, right?
Right? See? So it'd be crazy. But yeah, all right. So then, like I said, to start, I have these 2 shot glasses, not to put you too much on blast, but if you were to choose, are you more of a, out of the TNA, which one is your
Let's go with the A.
Hey! All right, we got some tequila here. We're going to take a small one. You don't have to take the whole thing because that's what got me in trouble last time.
That's usually the mark of trouble.
Right. But I will say, I'm pouring some. Okay, I need to not take this whole thing because cheers. But at least half, a little bit.
Salud.
Salud. We in this bitch with BREAL.
All right.
Right.
We starting off. Let's go.
Yeah, you could turn the effects a little bit up for me.
Thank you.
There you go. We got a Michi. We got a drink. We're gonna talk. We're gonna vibe. I heard you were just doing a photo shoot. You're a busy man.
Oh man. We were doing this LA Times story and photo shoot for our symphony thing that's coming out.
Okay.
It's a full film of us doing the performance with the London Symphony Orchestra along with interviews leading up to the actual play based off of the Simpsons joke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It all started with the Simpsons. They wrote it. We were playing Lollapalooza at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was the big thing. And they write about all the pop culture things and all that stuff. So they were doing the Homer Palooza episode, and they went to put some of us that were on Lollapalooza in the episode. Oh wow. To sort of play off of the Lollapalooza thing. So it was us, Peter Frampton, who they just wrote in because he wasn't on Lollapalooza, and it was supposed to be I believe Hole or something like that. It ended up being the Smashing Pumpkins or something like that. But that's dope. The joke was that we stole the orchestra from Peter Frampton.
Oh wow!
Because we were high and we didn't know that we ordered it or not.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Is that crazy to you? Like the Simpsons? You have like such a fucking epic life. Like that's just, you're like, yeah, I was just shooting this super huge important thing, and then now you're at Snow the Products Ranch, like. Just fucking, what is this? Is this up to par? Like,
I'm a Gemini. I'm in the wind. I'm everywhere.
Period. All right. I'm a Gemini moon.
All right.
Do you think Geminis get a bad rep?
Yeah.
Really?
We do. Not all of us, but yes, generally, yeah. People either say we're two-faced or we got 2 attitudes, which I definitely have 2 attitudes.
Okay.
But you have to bring the other attitude out of me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I can be flippish in the way that, like, we're good, but it could flip and we could not be good. But it all depends on the scenario and the situation and the flip that gets switched like that.
Yeah.
Then there's the other Gemini that's just two-faced. They're smiling in your face, and then on the other end, they're like, man, fuck you.
Oh.
I'm not one of those. I will tell you to your face if I'm like in that mode where we're beefing or something, like, or we got a problem. I'll be very honest about it. I'm not like that. Yeah. But I definitely have the 2 moods. I try to stay in one mood so that I'm not stressed or pissed off or having anxieties and shit like that over it. But yeah, I try to be in Zen mode.
Who's your favorite Geminis?
Say what?
Who's your favorite Geminis? Like,
well, there's many, right? Cube. He's Gemini.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Tupac, Big, Prince. There's so goddamn many. I mean, and if you're into the acting, Mr. Mark Wahlberg, he's also a Gemini. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the big things about this Zodiac stuff is that, one, a lot of people take it super seriously. So as soon as you say it, like sometimes like I'll say Cancer and some people will be like, "Aw," or some people will be like,
Yeah.
"Aw." And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, sometimes you think you're like getting along with someone really well. I mean, when I was like more dating and stuff, and then all of a sudden you just hear someone like, "Ah," and I'm like, hey, like, what the hell? Like, what, But I do think that there's that importance of duality. Like, or sometimes I have been like, they're like, "Oh, you're a Cancer." "Ah," and then Gemini moon. "Ah."
Oh.
And I'm like, hold on. You don't know me. Like, let's talk about this, But, I don't know. Have you ever felt like people sometimes like their reaction to, or do you believe in that? Do you not?
Yeah, absolutely believe it, because a lot of it is true. You could break whatever your characteristics are in the Zodiac. You don't have to be what it actually is, because if you read some of these books, it definitely breaks down the characteristics of each Zodiac sign. And if you pay attention to people and know that what they fall under, you'll fucking see it.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe it, because I can sort of read some of these Zodiacs, like, and know what the characteristics are generally. And some of them are exactly what their what is the description of their sign, and some of them break it just a little bit. They're not necessarily all that.
Yeah.
What it breaks down. They may have some of it, but like there's variations.
Off the cuff, like, is there a sign that you might be a little wary?
Wary.
Like, you might be like hesitant, whether it be business or I mean, if dating, anything. Like, is there a sign that you're like, or even in dating, was there ever a sign that you were like, I met a few of this and I'm like,
so I would say that
he's like Cancer. I'm like, what?
No.
I mean, I did look it up, and Cancer is up there.
Cancer is up there. I see. I've never dealt with a Cancer like that, so I really don't know Cancers like that. But I could say, in my experiences with, I've always been surrounded by Aries and Leos, a lot.
Okay.
And some Geminis here and there, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the characteristics are the same. Like with Leos, people could tell you, if you read the Zodiac, very loyal people, big hearts, driven. Usually the main person in their circle that people go to, very protective of friends and family, like in a different way. I mean, because we all have these things, but
yeah.
It's one of those things, the dry sense of humor that some people sometimes get and some people don't get.
Mm-hmm.
And they might get offended by it. And sometimes the button pushing that happens when sometimes they just want to fuck with you and people don't really know if they're fucking with you or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are they serious or are they fucking with me? Yeah. Like, because I've been around a lot of Leos that do that. My father was a Leo too, so I got plenty from him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And been around a lot of Aries. Some of my best friends, women that I dated, and my sister, Aries.
Nice.
And it's like when Geminis and Aries bump heads, it's fucked up. When we get along like it's solid, it's significant. But when we don't get along, it's fucked up.
That must be where my Gemini moon is in, because when I don't get along with an Aries, man, we'd be like, bruh. But then I'm around a lot of Taurus and I have a lot of Aries around me too.
It's a fight
Leo.
for the light with Aries, you know what I'm saying? Because they want
it's a fight for the camera with a Leo. No, I was joking. But no, I mean, zodiacs they're important, but then there's also this like the environment, right? Like everybody always talks about, what is it, nature versus nurture,
right?
Do you believe that, like your environment, a lot of us, especially us that make like rap and hip hop and where it comes from, it's like our environment wasn't necessarily supposed to, for whatever, breed this, like, us to get out of
right.
it, but it did, and we made it our voice, and we made it what it is, and we came from somewhere. Do you still ultimately, nowadays, right? Because we come from, I think, more like hip hop,
right?
But nowadays, I have a 14-year-old. You talk to them, you talk to everybody, you know, about music and whatever. And sometimes, you know, they're like, yeah, you like for like not hearing the new shit. And it's like, I hear it. It's cool. But it's like, do you still think that there is that respect? Or I mean, like there's still good lyricists out there.
Yes.
But it's not as prevalent to like for labels to push them. So what the fuck? Basically, what the fuck do you think is going on right now in music? How about that? Can I just ask that? Because I'm trying to pose it, but I'm like,
I totally hear what you're saying.
What
like,
the fuck?
So, you know, a lot of us in the beginning were students of the game, and you know, our entry was someone giving you the stamp of approval, like someone telling someone else, "Hey, did you hear about them? They're fucking dope. You got to hear them." And then, you know, it goes through the networks, and eventually this group gets on and it does the paid dues thing, right?
Yeah.
All that shit is over.
Yeah, even paid dues as a festival.
Even yes, that too. Paying dues is not the same thing as it used to be, you know. So a lot of steps got skipped and shit like that. And the new artists aren't necessarily students of the game the way, you know, artists have been traditionally in hip hop.
Yeah.
Knowing where it came from, you know, knowing where you come from, and representing whatever it is you represent, but having the knowledge of where it came from before you and all that shit. And, you know, some of these artists don't give a shit about that, because it's all about the bag or the light, or it's just a part of the thing that they're doing, aside from whatever antics that they might be really getting popular for, a bag for. And maybe the art form is secondary now, whereas before the art and the passion was first, and all the other shit that it took to drive it was second. Now it's in reverse, you know what I mean? So the love that the artists used to have for it isn't there. It's just something they do as opposed to something they want to do.
Yeah.
At least for some of them, I think, because there are, like you said, some dope lyricists out there that are the young artists out there getting it, you know, spitting bars, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't hear about them so much. They're not as celebrated as much.
Yeah, and can I ask you, like, because I also don't think that is exclusive to hip hop. Yeah. Because I think kind of like that's kind of in general right now how kids kind of are, or like even let's say TikTok influencers or social media people, or just kids in general. It's like, or even like, for example, Mexican Americans, right? Like, there a lot of times I think what's happening is they're skipping the paid dues, they're skipping the where you come from, they're skipping the roots, and they're just like, whatever, you know, I'm just out here. And I think in journey, right, in your life, the more you get to know self and the more you get to know your roots, the more centered and grounded you are, which means the more that you kind of work with purpose. The moment I say all these words, people stop listening. People are like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? Are you a yogi? But I'm like, no, it really is what it is. Yeah. But a lot of people, especially when they're a little bit younger, they're just like, nah, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, you know, get the bag, get this, get the bitches, get the drink, get the money, get this and that. Cool. But what are you going to do when all that shit dries up? Or, and you know, we've all seen it, people get lost in the sauce. I've definitely seen it in artistry. Oh, yeah. You fly somebody out from, you know, wherever they live. You bring them to LA. You're like, hey, man, I want to, you know, invest some money into you. I want to help you with your career, blah, blah, blah. They go to a couple LA parties. These motherfuckers is gone. Now they're just doing drugs. They want the bitches. They want the money. They want the this and that. And you're just like, bro, focus. Like, you need to, they're gone. Yeah. And then they look at you like you're wrong for trying to give them perspective. Next thing you know, you're like, you know what? Actually, I have a headache.
Or when it goes off the rails, they're like, why didn't you tell me?
Right.
Why didn't you warn?
First they wall out and then they're like, you could have told. And it's like, I fucking told you.
Like, well, I was trying to tell you. But that's the story of it, right? You try to like help someone and put them on the right path. And when they get in, you have all these different voices coming at them, what they should do, what they should be doing. Yeah. Why aren't they doing this? And you should be doing more. Meanwhile, they don't have any roadmap for these people that they're giving this nexpert advice to. You know what I mean? Well, someone who's actually has a path for them and a way for them to get there. They ain't listening to that because people want to skip steps, cut to the chase and get right in and become a star overnight. Because the biggest perception on getting a record deal back in the day was that you became a star overnight and you were rich and now you got all this, and that's not it.
Yeah.
You may get the deal and you may get the budget and you make the record, but you still got to go out there and sell those records, sell the tickets to the concerts, sell the merch and all that shit. And that is not easy. It does not happen overnight. You have to build momentum, build a base of fans that fuck with you, that will actually tell other fans about you, that word of mouth thing that that marketing dollars don't pay for. I mean, they put a lot of money into a project, but it's really the consumer, your fans that fuck with you, that tell other people, hey man, you got to listen to this new shit right here.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lack of that now. Because you don't really need it. Like, you just upload a fucking song in a minute. You don't have no marketing or promoting. But if you buy enough bots to make it look and it boost and go viral,
exactly,
then you know you've just skipped 1,000 steps, and now you might got a hit song over here by accident, but you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
because you skipped all these fucking steps.
Yeah,
you don't know how to perform it. You don't know how to go out there and push it. You don't even know how to talk about it. Like, it's crazy that a lot of these artists don't even know. Like, if you did an interview with them and ask them, what does your song mean? What are you saying to people? Or
they're like,
yeah. You know, I don't know. We was just partying. Oh.
Well, there was bitches.
There was bitches.
And we said, I'm trying to get the bitch. And now, speaking of, sorry, because I'm over here cursing and stuff. Yo, by the way, I know you be smoking and shit. Like, if you want to smoke, if you want to, whatever you want to do, you could do whatever you want to do. You know, we here. But I will get off TikTok to make sure that anything
I don't want to fuck you up there. I'm good.
No, we getting off TikTok. But YouTube, we could do whatever the hell we want. But I will let you guys know, TikTok. We are at 629 people right now watching. This is 400. Usually at 1,000, we finish our shot. So I'm just going to let y'all know, at 1,000 viewers live on YouTube, we usually finish our shot. We don't know it. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. You don't have to. But if you want to see Be Real, have a drink with me and be real with me, you know what I'm saying? Then go over there. All right, I love y'all TikTok, but we're ready to talk about things that are going to get us banned on TikTok. So goodbye.
Oops.
All right. Now that my side bitch is gone, no, I was joking. I call YouTube my main bitch and TikTok my side bitch, because you know what it is.
Yeah. And
yeah, sometimes I don't know, that pressure of like TikTok. I don't know. It's like I'm what did J. Cole say? Like, it's like you're the middle. Like, I'm older sis to some people, but I'm younger sis to others. Like, I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like I get it and I understand it, and I've utilized a lot of social media for my music and for connecting with my fans, but at the same time, sometimes I'm still a purist at heart. So you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm somewhere between, and whatever, it is what it is. But you're absolutely right about the industry. How do you navigate that? I mean, you're a fucking OG, so also it's like, here's what I want to ask you. At what point did you, like, at what point did you just be like, this is it, this is who I am, for no matter what moves I make, no matter what the fuck I do, like, for the rest of my life? Like, you did it, you made it, you did you've done everything.
I think it was based, you know, like, that mentality was based off of the first album.
Dang.
You know, we went in with
I'll never be there. Fuck. I'm like, no wonder I'm insecure.
Well, look, it took us 5 years to, like, put that album together. You know, and it took several years to get a deal because nobody on the West Coast would sign us. We didn't sound like a West Coast group. We didn't sound like a gangster rap group traditionally from the West Coast. So none of the labels here on the West Coast were interested. It wasn't until we went to the East Coast and, you know, started talking with our you know, our mentor, Joe the Butcher, who was you know, a legend in hip hop at this point for being a producer and engineer. And, you know, he had come into his record label with this other dude named Chris Swartz, who they loved us. They loved Muggs. They met him during his time in 783. And they knew that he had something, and they heard that he wanted to do this, that he was doing an album, so they wanted to hear it. And at that point, you know, we knew we were different than anything on the West Coast because our producer was an East Coast dude who happened to be living, you know, on the West Coast for a long time, so he got the culture. And we figured out how to flip East Coast and West Coast culture and bridge it. And we were just, you know, we were fans of so much different music, like metal and punk and funk and reggae and all that shit. the thing that stood out to us and all that was that, you know, in the punk rock and the metal scene and in the reggae scene, they didn't give a fuck what you thought about them. They were doing them, and that was it. And fuck you if you don't get down with it, right? So this was the mentality that we carried over into doing the hip hop shit, right? We're like, well, we're just not going to give a fuck what anybody thinks about what we do. We're just going to do it. And if they get it, great. If they don't, who gives a fuck, right?
Nice.
And the label, fortunately, you know, they figured out how to market what we were doing, and they allowed us to be us without too much intrusion in like trying to change our vibe. They very much saw where we were going and just were like, let them do what they do until they need us to come in and say or suggest this or that. And they did, like, you know, a lot of people have a horrible story being signed to a major label, right? You hear a lot of horror stories
La
about
pedrada.
I could say that my time or our time at Cypress Hill with Sony Music, it was trying at times, but I can say that, you know, they allowed us to be us. They did not in any way fuck us over or try to make us something that we weren't. They very much accepted us for what we were, and they saw that we had a vision and we were going to go to it whether, you know, they liked it or not, and they decided to embrace it rather than to fight it. And that fucking helped everything, because that, you know, I don't know if you noticed this, but in our music, it just got darker and darker. It never got more commercial or anything like that. Muggs made sure that we got darker as we went along, as opposed to like, let's make another hit single.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And that's, I also feel like, I mean, I don't know, like as dudes and as a group, I feel like that's dope to respect y'all's opinion. And I always say this too, by the way, like about the label. I know that I just joked and I was like, oh, me. But it's like, no, I do appreciate when I was at a label, because they changed my life overnight. I had $20 in the bank and just had a baby. And then, you know, the next day I had a lot of money in the bank. And, you know, I now could actually like get out of the situation I was in.
Right.
So it's like, I will always be grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. I do think I was at a time when maybe they didn't know what to do with a Mexican girl that was a rapper, that, you know, whatever. And I always also give myself that fault a little bit of, maybe I wasn't confident enough to step up and be like, no, this is what it is. I kind of like, you know, they would tell me something and I would be kind of insecure. So then I'd be like, okay, maybe. But then, you know, whenever you Frankenstein something, when you're in the studio and it's like, now it's so many people, so many chefs in the kitchen that you end up with some like random idea.
Right.
And then everyone's like, well, this wasn't what I was talking about. And it's like, yeah, nobody's happy. Like not them, not me, not anyone. So then it doesn't drop. And that's kind of what happens. Whereas I feel like that's dope to have that, like, I don't give a fuck. This is who I am, blah, blah, blah idea. To me, for a while, I said that, but I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, I wasn't on that level.
Yeah. It's hard for any artist, you know, to be able to do that, because you have the weight of the label coming in on you, and if you don't have the support system or someone advocating for you, that gets hard to be able to do that. You know, for us, we were like, well, you know, Muggs was a pretty straightforward dude in the sense that, like, let's just say, and this did happen a couple times, where we're working on one of the albums. I believe at the time it was maybe Black Sunday, and excuse me, it was Temple of Boom, and Sony sent over one of the A&Rs to see where we were at with it, right? And you know, Muggs never liked to play anything until it was completely done. So, you know, he allowed homie to come in and hear it, and he was like, hey, Muggs, why don't, you know, like in that part, why not put this or that, or try this in this section? And he was like, hey, homie, that'd be great on your album.
I wish bro, if I could go back and I could have said that, that's fire. And
then he could proceed to say, okay, now I need you to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? He didn't want no one ever to like be coming with an outside influence to him about something he already had in mind, you know what I mean? And he wasn't gonna have anybody, not even the label people, come and say anything to him. And we were all just like, oh shit, all right, hell yeah, you know, we were cheering him on.
I needed a mugs.
Yeah, you needed a mugs. You know, most artists need a guy like that will when needed, say to the label, hey, you know what? That's great for maybe you or one of your other artists, but we're doing this right here.
I need a mugs because I just, you know, or I need some balls is what I need to do, because I need to be like, hey, that's great on your album. But no, see, it's because I feel like coming from a woman, though, people be like, oh my God, she's such a bitch, you know?
No.
But it's like mugs is like, hey, homie.
Y'all have it harder than
hey,
we.
Homie.
Y'all have it harder than we, so you have to be a little bit more. And that's okay. Because the way that women get treated in this industry is fucked up, and so you know you have to be a little. Me take a shot. Girl. You have to be a little bit more aggressive, or have someone.
I'm already a lesbian. Be real. No, what do you want me to do?
Well, you could have someone be the bad guy for you.
Who?
I'll do it.
Oh yes. Oh my God, that's it. Labels are gonna start calling. Be real.
You want to talk to Snow? You fucking talk to me. I will tell you to go fuck off. If you don't.
Not nobody's gonna talk to us, man.
Oh no, everybody's gonna fucking talk with us.
You're like, I want to talk to Snow. He's like, fuck off.
Nah, you don't get to talk to Snow till you come right.
Yeah, you right. You know what? You're absolutely. You know what? I will take a shot to that. Cheers.
I will take a shot with you. God damn it.
Yo, we out here. We're gonna end up drunk as fuck and with a new business venture. It's gonna be great.
There used to be a time where they value talent. Right, and a lot of the shit you see out there right now is more image than talent. And when they have somebody like you that has image and talent,
I have image.
Yeah, of course. Come on, fuck out of here. You know this.
Yo.
And they don't know what to do with it. That shit is just crazy. Nah, they know exactly what the fuck to do with it, but they go with the easy shit where they can exploit a woman who's willing to go up there, show all the shit she does, and if you notice, most of them got the back shot popping. In most videos right now,
not
it's
mad
almost.
At a back shot, not mad.
I'm not mad at this neither. But every video you see of all the top female rappers, most of them end up in a back shot in almost 80% of their fucking videos.
I mean, period. But also, we get it.
I mean, I don't mind it.
But you know, in the you're right about you could give it to him in the great words of a philosopher. I could give it to you, but what you gonna do with it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we have the talent and we have the image and we have everything, but what are you gonna do with it? Because that's a problem in business, in the music business, right? It's like sometimes they do have everything, but it's like you give it to the wrong business person and they're just gonna fumble it because it's like you don't know what you're doing. But then don't they always blame the artist?
They always blame the artist because that's the easiest person to blame.
Right.
Oh, well, we tried to tell them, but they wanted to do the artist thing. And really, that's not what it is. It's like, you try to follow their fucking direction. It doesn't work for you. And then, they just call it a write-off.
Right. Like we're in the field playing and we waiting for the coach to tell us the shit. And then the coach don't do what they do. So then they're like, well, that investment wasn't worth it. And it's like, no, bitch, you don't know what fucking plays to call. How about that? By the way, I know you're live on Instagram. You could cut that because I'm going to start cussing up a storm. But no, it really do be like, oh, somebody said put your back into it. Oh, okay. Period.
I mean, look at most of the female rappers back in the day. If you look at them, none of them doing that shit. It was based off of their skill set, the talent, and they figured out the videos that worked for them. None of them had to do a back shot, and it seems like these days that's the fucking mandatory shit if you want to really get on. And you shouldn't. You should not that I'm mad at it, but it's not like you shouldn't have to do this to get on. In
the scope of like all women, I do think that back in the 90s, like definitely, and whenever women have been on top, it's been like. There's a lot of different women, like there's all variations, you know what I'm saying? Like you had the Brat, you had Missy, so then you also did have Kim, but you also had other artists, you had Eve, you had so many different artists. As far as like now, it just does become kind of like but you know what? I do blame that more on the industry because the industry becomes very copy paste. The moment you have one artist that's doing well, they want to copy that idea but them make money. So it's more like market share, they want to make sure that they have a version of that. It happens even with me. Like there do be times where there's been people that wanted to get involved in my career, didn't really bring anything. So then they go, you know what? So I'm going to sign someone else. I'm going to make them kind of be a you and then just, you know, own that. And it's like, or we could all just do business. Like at the end of the day, there doesn't need to be one. There doesn't need, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or there doesn't need to be one, you know, cookie cutter fucking stamp. It literally can be everything. But I think people in the business lose creativity, and the creative people always get fucked.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
They don't even know where to look for creativity anymore. They stopped looking in places that they actually found people that can actually do this, right? So an A&R back in the day would have to maybe go to the club scene, depending on the genre you're in, right? So let's just say you're in the hip hop genre. You're going to the club, seeing what the DJ's spinning, seeing what people's reacting to, and then you're going to showcases to see these new artists that are popping off to see if they got it on stage. Because if they got it on stage and they know how to work a fucking crowd, that means you could get them in the studio and do something with them. And that used to be the get down. Now they're looking on YouTube, right? And a lot of people get on in this forum and stuff like that, but they don't have the chops that someone who's on the club scene doing the showcases and popping it off and actually working on the craft, right? Because the more you do it, right, the more you do shows, the more you're in the studio, the more you're writing songs, the better you're getting at it and evolving. Whereas, you know, someone who does it, you know, to see, you know, like it's almost like fishing. Let me see if I could get this off. I don't really do this, but fuck it, I'm going to try it. Boom. And you get a viral song.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what to do with it. It's like I was saying before, they don't know what to do with that, as opposed to someone who's been working the circuit and they can get that song and then actually go execute it in front of people and make an impression, as opposed to make a fool of themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they actually take it serious. Whereas this other group of creative type of people, right? They'll come in and do that shit. And then let's just say the song gets on and a club promoter hits them up and says, hey, we want you to come play that song over here. And they don't know it, or they don't know what to do, how to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what you're dealing with right now is a lot of people coming to doing that. They're dealing with it with comedy too. Whereas, you know, they're not, there's cats getting put on in the comedy world. Some are really fucking funny and deserve to get put on, even though they haven't worked the circuits like other comedians have.
Yeah, like a natural.
Right. They're naturals at it. They have that talent. And others get on, and when they go and try to work the circuit like other comedians, they don't make it through because they don't have the chops. They ain't paid the dues. They haven't walked that fucking line to know how to do these places and survive it.
Yeah.
And like say, okay, maybe I bombed here, but I gotta fucking go and work on my thing and come back and see if I can get these fucking people laughing.
Yeah.
It's a whole process. And when you skip that,
yeah, I
mean, you're going to see that. And we're seeing a lot of it in music. We're seeing a lot of it in comedy. We're seeing a lot of it every fucking where.
Yeah.
And it's because the A&Rs don't exist the way they used to. They're not actually finding real talent. They're just looking in different pools. And some artists are ready for the moment, and others need to be groomed for the moment, and some will never get the moment.
Dang. That means shit. You're right. But on your podcast, I asked you, which by the way, like, I feel like, okay, first of all, we talked about bowling.
Right.
And then yesterday when I was shooting a 24-hour challenge with Tony, she told me she was on your podcast.
Yeah, Tony was on the podcast.
Yeah, and then I told you about the bowling.
Yeah.
So even
she's supposedly really dope, right?
She's very good. So I want to just be the coach of the female bowling.
Okay.
You know, I'm not good, but I will train. Like I will film myself every time I go bowling and show you a time lapse of me becoming the bowler that I should have become. Because it is fun on tour. When you're on tour and you're kind of with your homies or whatever, and you got a day off in like fucking, you know, Minneapolis or fucking, you know, anywhere, fucking Ohio, Idaho, you know, and you want to just go bowl. Yeah. I suck. I usually just go for the wings, to be honest. But I want to get good.
We all want to get good. We've been bowling more often. Actually, we just went to Vegas to film one of the episodes for the it's called What We Do. It's the segment, right? And I was bowling my ass off, Snow. I think I had the highest score of the day at a 180. I was this close to 200.
I think hers was, wait, what? 200 is perfect?
No, 300 is perfect.
Yeah, she had like a 270 or something like that.
She is fucking good if she's hitting 270. God damn. Yeah. I don't want to bowl against her.
No, like,
not yet. Give me another 6 months while I'm
literally that's that's why I'm like, yo, the women. I'm like, she's gonna carry the entire women's team because
she's the ringer.
But I feel like honestly, I feel like even though I'm not really like great yet, I feel like I was born to do this.
You could do it.
Like I could, even though I got, I could do this.
If you go
practice,
if you go get your own ball, they'll make it to the fitting of your hand, right?
Okay.
And it makes it so much better than to go to a fucking
bowling. Is it
bowling
like in
alley.
ears?
Huh? Yeah.
Is it like in ears? Like they gotta like what do they?
Well,
do?
no, they just measure out like your thumb and your fingers, these three here, and they make sure the grip is right for you, and then you have to learn how to roll with that grip, but it's way better than the generic balls at a fucking bowling alley.
But then what happens when you do go to the generic balls at a bowling alley? Like, are you still equally good, or are you like, oh, I just don't got my ball, and then everyone's like, ah, boo,
well, I think when you have your technique down with your ball, you could pick up pretty much most of the balls if they're the same weight as your ball. You could probably generally throw it or roll it the same way. It's not going to be as accurate because you're used to your ball. All of us, it's crazy because when we get into something, we fucking go deep in this shit. Like we all bike BMX 1-speed bikes, right? And we do these crazy ass 30-40 mile rides.
I'm trying to be like you, my boy. Like, what the hell? You got all the cool hobbies. He's like, I bike, I bowl, I garden,
all the bees.
I cook spaghetti. Like, I'm like, yo, I want to do all of this.
I cook spaghetti.
Like, this is my role model right here. He's like, I cook fucking good spaghetti, but I don't give it to you unless I want to, because I don't care how much you beg me for it. If I want to cook it, I'll cook it, but if I don't want to, I will not give it to you. Amazing. Right. Power over spaghetti.
That's right.
I love it.
That's right. What bowling, bikes, and buds, and spaghetti.
Oh yeah. Okay, so your green thumb definitely, like with a bud. Like, I've never grown a bud. I should.
You could.
Wait, is that still legal?
You could. I think you could grow.
You're like, don't put this on YouTube, no?
No, you could totally grow here. You're in California. You could do some pots outside. The only thing in Southern California and trying to grow in pots outdoors is they got to be in a greenhouse or in a screened enclosure, because the problem is the bugs. Some of the bugs that infest the weed plants are fucked up. Most especially when moths or insects like that.
Moths.
Yeah, they'll basically lay larvae on the leaves, right? Little eggs that pop into, they turn into worms, and they go up the stem into the middle of the buds and eat in the center. Bro. And as they're growing, at first they're brownish. They look sort of like the stem.
I'll let my chickens on them bitches.
Yeah. Usually ladybugs, if you put ladybugs on the plant, they'll eat the larva and shit like that. But that is one of the worst. Yeah. See how it turns green? Like it showed there was right there.
Little weed plant bed bugs.
As it eats through the plant, it starts turning into the color of the plant. And you won't know that your plant's infected unless there's two ways to see it. When they lay their little shits, their little brown specks, right? You could see that, and it looks like little dirt pebbles, but they're actually the worms shitting on the leaves, right? And the other thing is you'll see like the bud rot of the dead part of the bud where it's eaten, and usually cuts the nuggets in half. It's an ugly fucking thing.
Damn.
The other thing is spider mites, but this bug right here will have you pissed off because you'll come back home, you'll think your plant is all nice, and then you'll see some things that don't look right, and then when you shake the bud, it'll just knock over. because it's eaten through the halfway point.
What?
And then it leaves the fucking bud rot on the top, and the plant's no good after that. And it gets infested outside because they do a job on your shit. That's why, like, when I was growing outside, I ended up putting it in a screened enclosure. I didn't necessarily make the greenhouse, but I was doing a screen enclosure, and I kept them out that way. But anytime I tried to grow them outside that shit, nah.
I was just on your when I was on your podcast, I had told you that I bought a greenhouse and it got delivered. I've been running around since, so it's literally still at the front of my fucking gate, but I will get to it at some point. However, I was wondering, like, so is like the weed world now kind of like how the food world is? Like, there's just some people that are doing some, like, they might have had a couple little larva poops on there and they left it, and then there might be some pristine motherfuckers that are just like doing the perfect thing. Or is it like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what if I'm smoking? If I'm smoking something that might have had a couple specks of mold, how bad is that? Am I gonna die?
Well, you're not gonna die, but if you had too much of it, right? So, and that usually happens when you're dealing with black market shit, because they don't have to go through the same testing regulations that a regulated shop would have to go to. A licensed shop has all these regulations, and it has to be tested before it gets into there. So if there's any mold, if there's any shit like that on it, it won't pass and it can't get into the shelves. You might see that happen, with people fucking selling it, on the street or whatever.
Yeah.
But you just never know unless you take that shit and you start looking at it. And if you know what to look for, you might find mold, or you might find stuff like this. And you'll only find that in a outdoor situation. You won't find them worms on indoor. That's outdoor. If it got indoors, that would be fucking crazy. But
do you feel like back in the day, because back in the day, obviously, when we were like, like, I don't know, I remember when then don't try this at home, but my first time I ever saw a bag of weed was like middle school, right? And like somebody's like, oh, blah, blah. So back then, it just seemed like things were just so. Do you think people are trying to do too much nowadays, and then they do it wrong?
Since day one, though.
It's like they try to do too much, they do it wrong, and now it's like, why does this person look like a meth head? Like, what's going on?
That's from the dawn of time. There's always someone trying to do too much. But yeah, in the weed world, there's people that are doing what they need to do and being successful, and then there's other people trying to do too much, and they're not so successful.
Yeah.
And usually, it's because they're experimenting with too much instead of going with what they know works.
Yeah.
And that's always the problem, is that people want to push too hard. And I get it, some folks are never satisfied, but at some point you got to see what you're doing. And if it's successful, let it breathe for a while.
Yeah.
And
be ethical.
And be ethical. And most especially that in the cannabis industry is ethics fucking these days are out the window. It used to be where it wasn't as cutthroat as it becomes, because the people that were in the industry in the beginning were all peace and love people, trying to fight for the legalization so that people wouldn't go to jail, not just for the privilege and ability to operate a cannabis company of any sort. It was so that people wouldn't be going to jail for this shit.
Yeah.
But when money got involved,
capitalism.
God
damn it. Can you give us some water, and then maybe possibly, if you don't want to make me a michelada, that's fine, but like a beer. So it's like 2 waters and a beer. That's my cousin. By the way, this is my cousin and my brother. That's my girlfriend. I know at your podcast, it was like so like I literally was telling my brother, I was like, his podcast is so like legit. Like, you walk in, they have like a sound stage, and you guys are perfect on the time and everything.
We try. It doesn't always work.
Bro, we are farmers. Dun, 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 dun. No, we are fucking we're doing what we're doing from the house. But again, this is like very homemade, very homegrown, and this is my response to going in the industry, not feeling like like maybe it loved me as much as I loved it back, and moving out of it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, and this is a good thing to compare, you said ethics are out the window in weed. Which business do you think is more ethical? at this point.
Neither.
And
both.
in general in the United States, like what's happening with business?
Okay, so in the weed world, we're here in California, our taxes are way too high for everything, but most especially for cannabis. There's already a 38% tax, and they're talking about raising it another 15 to 19%. And
Black market it is.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous when you think about that cannabis money, the sales tax, and all that shit saved this state and gave it a surplus. And the thanks we get is more taxes. Thanks, Gavin. You're fucking awesome.
You're fucking awesome.
So, you know, we're getting fucking gouged by our state, unfortunately. And then, you know, some of the operators in the cannabis industry are fucked up too.
Yeah.
They don't operate fairly with others, and there's a lot of that cutthroat shit. So you have these issues happening in the cannabis industry. With the music industry, artists are constantly getting fucked since day one. You know, there's deals that artists take because they don't have representation, where they give up all their publishing just to get the deal. This was a thing that they were talking about with Diddy and Mace and the Lox and half the bad boy artists. When they signed that record deal, they gave up publishing, and publishing is one of the most important things you keep as a writer. But labels, like, you know, Diddy wasn't the only one to do this. This has been going on forever in the music industry. And now when you think about it, since the music industry has changed and nobody sells units the way they used to, now it's all relies on streaming, right? Yeah. And our royalty rate on streaming, and I say this on my show a lot.
Say it again.
0.3 is the royalty rate. So it's
less than a penny.
Less than a fucking penny on a dime. Less than a penny on a dime. Right? Because our labels get a dime. And we get the 0.3.
And that, by the way, that's major labels. If you're not on a major label, I don't even know what the fuck that rate is, because. And you're still
getting the 0.3.
Yeah, you're still getting the 0.3, but they have a cut in a situation with labels.
So Snoop said it the other day. He reached well, not the other day, but he said it some time ago, where he hit 1 billion streams and his check was for $40,000. 1 billion streams, $40,000. The math just doesn't work, and that's because our labels, unfortunately, went and made the deal with these streaming platforms without any artist representation in the room to advocate for the artists and say, hey, that royalty rate, none of these artists can live off of. And if you're not making any more physical copies for people to buy, and it's, you know, it revolves on people paying for the download, people are going to go to streaming services and just get these records based off of, you know, the what they're paying for to have that streaming services. And if the music is licensed to that service, they don't really need to fucking pay for it. You know, it's already there. Okay, let me just put it in my shit. They don't own it. They just have the right to it based off of the contract they have with the license, with the streaming service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we get paid very little on that end, and that's where most people get their fucking music, on these streaming services. They're not buying it physically and owning it anymore. They're going to these places, and this is how we live.
Yeah.
Through our music.
And wait, somebody said that's why artists, do concerts so much these days. Yeah, I mean,
and sell merch. You have to fucking sell tickets to your show and sell merch to really make money in music these days, because
and
the
I
royalties.
canceled my tour this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I didn't cancel, as much as this is the only year I chose to not go on the road prior to even setting anything up, just because I felt like, here's the thing for me.
Well, you do a lot.
I felt like it was just becoming so repetitive, and it was becoming so, I needed to take a break to push everything, to look at everything from the, like, you know, and be like, let me get some perspective on how I can enjoy it more, and how the fan can enjoy it more, how the experience can be better. Because just signing up for the next one, and then here you go, and clock's ticking and going, and then, you know, there you go, another Live Nation, and another this, and another that, and another ticketing, and AXS, and fucking all these ticketing things, and all the fees and everything, and then between the artist and the fan, our part is shrinking, but like the money's costing more, but we are losing, one, the experience, two, where the fuck is the money going, and three, time,
Right.
you know, and quality. So to me, I just was like, I like performing because I genuinely love performing and I love the connection with the crowd. There's a reason I crowd surf. There's a reason I stage dive. There's a reason I fucking, you know, go in the crowd if I need to. There's a reason I've had the connection to y'all for as long as I have. However, the more capitalism is involved in this music industry, the less that they see money, the more that they try to price gouge and grab and whatever, and the more that it just doesn't feel genuine. And to me, when it doesn't feel genuine, I choose to say no. I will say no to $1 million if it means give this a break and let's figure this shit out. And by the way, that doesn't mean that my team has to. I will find a way to make sure my team could still, you know, get paid and we can survive and everything. But it does mean at some point artists have to stand up and be like, yo, this isn't working for us. We need to figure a way to also still be happy as an artist, because you're not going to treat me like a shut up and rap person. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Right?
Yeah, no, you have to value yourself in a way that, like, when you know you need the time off to let shit breathe and absorb everything and process, you know, that's you as an artist just hitting the reset button. And you could do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help with with how this industry treats fucking people.
Yeah.
To, you know, to not want that break, because you need it. For me, I've never taken, well, yeah, I did take it. I mean, and I spoke about it, I think, on the show where, you know, I took 3 years to go play paintball and compete in a paintball league to get away from so much of the touring, because we were touring so much from the start up until that point. Like, we hardly saw home.
Yeah.
All these changes were happening and we wouldn't see nothing because we were off in Europe or, you know, traveling through the States doing shows and stuff like that. And that was all I had known from 1991 up until that point. And I think it was probably, I don't know, early 2000s when I got into, you know, doing these paintball competitions, right? And it gave me a little break, and it made me miss the creative shit. It made me miss the touring. It made me miss all of it, because we were doing shows sporadically here and there, but realistically, I got the time off that I needed. I got to blow off steam, most especially because I was shooting guns at people that weren't going to kill people. And it was fun. It was addicting. It took me out of the game for a little bit too long. It should have been a year, but it took me out for 3 years, right?
Wait, were you every day shooting paintball guns?
Every week, for sure. We would have practice days because, I mean, we were competing. We were a team called Stoned Assassins, and we were in this league called the NPPL. And we went from rookie to amateur or something like that.
I need to find better hobbies, because what the fuck? You find all the cool hobbies.
You know what's crazy about that is that in that league, right? There's 4 different groups in that league. There's the rookies, there's the amateurs, semi-pro, then pro. And in all of the categories, it's co-ed teams, right? Like, so it could be a team of,
an invite?
It could be a team of all women, could be a team of all men, could be a team of men and women. And the age groups were also mixed, right? So it's like the only sport where men and women can compete against each other or together. And there's nothing different. All the guns are the same, and the women were really fucking dope. It's like playing chess with guns. It was probably one of the most exhilarating fucking times for me, because there was nothing like, you know, having a team and the objective is to go smash the other team out, bring their flag and bring it back and get the game.
Do you still do that or no?
I haven't done that in some years. They still call me back to play, and I'm probably in better shape now than I was then playing. So
why haven't you gone back?
Just it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, especially when you got to practice with the team, and I just don't got time for it, because we used to do like 2-3 day practices throughout the week, and then when the tournaments come, the tournaments are 3 day tournaments, so we're like geared for that. It's like expensive to play it, but it also takes up a lot of time if you're taking it serious because you got to practice with the team and all that.
Is there money
shit.
in it? Like you spend all that money and then you have like a championship and
like the top 3. There's money for the people in each category. There's money for people that come in first place or the teams that come in first place, and second place. You know, it's not as robust as first place, obviously, but yeah, there is a compensation to it. But you got to win, and it's like, you know, in each category it's at least 100 teams. So these 100 teams in each categories are trying to get to that number 1 spot to win, whether it's $150,000 or $60,000 or $20,000, whatever it is. They're all going for it. For me, it was never about the money. It was more about bragging rights. I wanted to win. And we got close a few times. We took 3rd place in one tournament. And then, you know, we had a couple of bad seasons there. But on my last season, we were playing really well, but we just could not get into the finals and stuff like that. And some dude comes up to me, "Hey, BREAL," and we were in San Diego. "Hey, BREAL, man, it's cool to see you out here paintballing and being with the people, man. We fucking love you for that. But when you gonna do some new music?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" It dawned on me right in that moment, like, fuck, it's been 3 years. I need to get back in the studio, and that's when I started doing mixtapes, and you know, and then my solo album, then eventually led to our Cypress Hill Rise Up album. And I'd been working nonstop since then. I had taken another break since that 3-year break right there.
I feel that.
That was my little time off that I needed. But it made me miss doing it. So I got into it and I haven't stopped since then.
I feel that. When you're in the studio though, if you're like having writer's block, like what do you do? Like, you know, a lot of people like have a basketball outside, or like do you leave and come back, or like what do you usually?
Usually I could push through it. If I have writer's block, it's something to do with the beat. Like maybe I just don't.
Like it's your fault.
Yeah, it's the beat's
It's
fault.
true. It's true.
If I can't vibe off of you, you gotta go.
Yeah. No, but you know, sometimes you are cooped up in a studio, and it's like it's a little like the beat keeps playing, and then sometimes it just makes you sleepy. To me, I just if the beat is not doing what it needs to do, I'm like, bro, what am I supposed to do here?
So that's for me. Like when people ask me to do like a cameo or a feature or whatever. I'll tell them I gotta hear the beat first. Yeah. If I like it, I could do something to it in that moment, right? Yeah. I don't even have to wait. And if I like it in that moment, that I could do something to it right then and there, I know that I could take it a couple days later, go into the studio and spot write it, or I could write it outside of the studio. Either way, but I know that I could do something to it, and I won't be blocked. One block happened to me in my life. in music, and it's because it was supposed to happen. I look at it like that. It wasn't supposed to be my song, and so I embraced that. But Jump Around, for instance, it came to me.
Oh shoot!
It also went to Son Doobie, but when it came to me, I told Muggs, I said, "Hey, I had it for like a week or something like that," and I was like, "You know what? This shit is dope, but for some reason, I can't come up with anything to it. Why don't you give it to Everlast? I think he would fuck this up." And, you know, like Muggs normally does what he does. I didn't think he was going to listen to me, to be honest. I thought maybe Son Doobie would get it or somebody else, but he fucking sent it over to Everlast, and Everlast made one of the most powerful hip-hop songs to this date. You could play that song anywhere, and people are going to react to it. You could cover that song, and people are going to be fucking going out of their fucking mind when you play it, because it's that pop-off song. I already know, you know, like we play it as a cover with Cypress, and people fucking go crazy to it. Before Cypress, I was doing it with Prophets of Rage. It's not even a hip-hop group, you know, it's more aggressive with the metal shit and all that. We played it there, and same thing, pop off. That song is one of the most powerful hip-hop songs in the world. Yeah, I had it right here.
You had it right here in my hands.
I passed it to Everlast, and and he did a great thing with it, and we cover it, you know. But realistically, after that song, I told myself I'll never have another block again. I will find a way to power through it. And fortunately, from that time to now, which was in 92 or 93.
I can't believe
like
that because I've always found the similarities in that. Like I would have thought, like I get it.
Yeah.
Like I see how that could have happened. And I was watching this video about how like people were saying that like ideas are downloads from like, you know, the universe. And like if when you get that, you don't get that idea down and download it, it's gonna go to someone else.
Yep.
And so it's like I could see how that was like, okay, didn't grab that when it needed to, just went ahead, hopped over to somebody else, because what needed to happen was gonna happen with that.
Yeah.
So it's like it was either gonna be, you know, and I firmly believe that that is true. Like, so it is important for us as creatives to be like, okay, when we love the beat and if we know what to do with it, let's do it. But you did the right call though. If you were like, yo, it's not for me, and you handed it off and it ended up being what it ended up being, you're like, hey, yo, like, you know, team player, you gotta, you know, pass the ball.
My hand in it was that I, you know, said to Muggs, hey, give it to the white guy.
Right.
Give it to the white boy. He's gonna kill it. White boy meaning Everlast. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
And
that's history.
And he killed it.
That's hip hop history, man.
Hip hop history right there.
That's insane.
And we honor the song by playing it in our set at times. Not all the time do we do it, but a lot of times we'll cover it because it's from the Soul Assassin family. Everlast is one of my closest friends. We were in each other's weddings.
Aww.
That's you know, one of my boys. You know, we're talking about working on projects now with him, Son Doobie, and myself, and other stuff with just him and I. So like, you know, we're constantly, you know, talking about shit. And but I have to always give him flowers because he don't get enough for writing one of the most powerful hip hop songs ever.
That's fucking amazing. That's dope.
Yeah, there's only a few songs that'll make people jump right the fuck up in that moment. Right when you hear them horns pop off and the first beat comes, people are going, and it's a fact.
That is true.
Yeah. I
need me a one of them. You know what I'm saying?
I need me one of them right now.
I need me a one of them. Like, no, because, you know, I've always liked, I'm a more like performance artist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I love me some like R&B-ish, slowish songs or whatever, or like, you know, more political, like whatever. But it's like when I can make a song that I know, ooh, this is gonna go good in like the show, because I like performing, and that's why I'm like, I start crying. I'm like, and that's why it's so sad that I'm not touring this year. No, but I do like it. It's just, you know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I love everything about the history of the shit, what y'all have been able to do, what y'all have represented, what you've represented, getting in the studio with you, with Burner, with like everybody, you know, in that time frame too, when we were like in there. I remember it was like Demrick and like everybody going around. It was, to me, I remember telling my brother and Yayo and being like, I can't believe I'm in those rooms right now. Like, I was in the studio and I would stay up like late to be in the studio, and y'all motherfuckers know how I am with smoke. But I was in there, I was like, no matter if I don't have a voice tomorrow, I'm gonna be in these rooms. And like, just, it was such a fucking dream come true for me to just be there, and I'm a student of it. So I was just like, this is awesome. So then to find out how you felt about like my verse or whatever, I was just like, bro, this is fucking cool.
And to put more on that, right, is when I told my wife I was doing a song with you, she was like, I love her.
I love that.
And my wife called me before I came up here, and you make sure you tell her that our daughter loves her too. And her quinceañera's coming up and all that, and she's gonna make sure that some of your songs are playing.
Oh my gosh, her quinceañera's coming up?
Yeah, in June.
My son's turning 15 on April 30th.
Oh wow,
that's crazy. We got 15-year-olds. Yeah, how is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I have an older son. You know, like
but a daughter?
I was a fast kid. You know, so he's like 37 right now, my son.
Nice.
And my daughter's 15. Two different moms, obviously, but yeah, you know.
And these are my tia's famous potatoes, by the way.
Shit.
If you're hungry, these potatoes are fucking bomb.
Okay.
But but when you was in it, so you had a kid.
Yeah.
And you're touring.
Yeah, when I was very young. I mean, my son was born when I was 17. I was very fast. Actually 16, sorry. So the first part of his life, I was on the road, like, and actually before that I was gang banging from 16 to about 18, 19, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like straight up gang banging.
Yeah.
And then I got back into the music because I was into the music first, but like, you know, shit happens, and I got, you know, pretty much indoctrinated into the gangbang shit, and you know, so I didn't want him to be around that, so I made sure that I stood away from him in those times because I didn't want to like bring anything to my son like that, right?
Yeah.
And you know, eventually I got back into the music with Mello, Sendog, and Muggs. They were now in the, you know, they all had something going on. Mello had to deal with Delicious Vinyl. Muggs was with 783, and he was affiliated with Rhyme Syndicate, and they wanted me to come help Mello write, or at least write a couple of songs for Mello, because they felt like I was good with the pen. And so they came and got me. You know what? As I was still gangbanging and all that shit, I had been shot, the whole fucking thing, and I was, you know, out there on the street.
Damn.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it, but I was fucking wilding out like heavy, and they
what
came.
Got you to here? Well, obviously a fucking huge, famous, super career, but
well, those three guys, you know, to their credit, and I owe it to them because they saved my life basically. Because we all know in gangbanging, there's only a few different paths. You know what I mean? And none of them are leading to good places, right? Very few retirees. But they saw something in me. So, you know, and they were my fucking good friends, you know what I mean? So they came and said, hey, listen, we're working on Mello's album. Why don't you come into the studio and check things out? So I'd go in with them. And, you know, as we're at Delicious Vinyl, making Mello's first album, you know, we're seeing guys like Young MC come through, Tone Loc, and a bunch of people who like were notable to us in the hip hop world. And I was like, oh shit, Tone Loc is right. And I knew he was a Crip, and I was a Blood. Oh, and you know, and I knew that was like, especially a thing right then. But like, I was just still in awe because I didn't look at him like this is my enemy. I looked at him like, oh fuck, that's Tone Loc. Oh shit, like I was fanning out, like, and you know, I started liking to be at the studio as opposed to like being on the block. Yeah. And I started being in the sessions more and started getting used to that shit. And little by little, I was off the street and more into the studios. And I had a conversation with a couple of my homies that were in my circle of our set. Because, you know, within a gang, you have your own circle of homies that you kick it with more than maybe the others, right? Yeah. And I told my homies that I was tight with. I'm like, I'm gonna go try do this shit over here. So I'm just letting y'all know. And they're like, go do that shit. And that's pretty much when I left the street corner and all that shit, and you know, where we would be holding down our blocks, and committed to the studio and not bringing any of the gangbang shit into the music, because I don't want to fuck up the opportunity for the three dudes who had took a chance on me, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what turned it around for me, and I started taking the music more serious and started writing, and I just loved being in the studio because of the vibe that I was getting from it. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I feel it. And like as we were saying before, like being in this hip hop shit and being like, you know, a lot of times we come from poverty, or we're in the streets, or we're doing, you know, I was robbing. I mean, I don't like to say it because now that I have a 14-year-old, and I'll be like, you better. And then he's like, do you remember when you were in the streets robbing people? I'm like, oh fuck. Oh. But you know what I'm saying? But like, I was a little ass kid doing stupid ass shit. I could have ended up, you know, real fucked up. I got all that. And the first time I hit the studio, I remember the same thing. It was like, it's almost like the street energy that you get, but you're kind of doing something productive that at the end of the day, you're like, oh shit, like I did that. So like you would talk, and then it gets recorded, and then you think it's cool, and then you show it to people, and then they're proud of you, and you're like, yo, you're getting this sense of acceptance that we were kind of looking for in the street shit. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's like for a lot of us that are looking for that like group, like, you know, or like that acceptance, that community, that shit.
you find it in music, and once, you know, if we're really creative, once you go into that, you never look back. You're like, I don't want to fuck this feeling up for that shit, you know? Can't go to jail for making music. I mean, you know, I don't think so. But I'm like, if you can,
not for making the music,
but you know,
not yet anyway.
Rap shit.
Yeah, I mean,
shit.
you
I'm
know,
gonna drink to that because there might be a chance, bitch. Like, you feel me? The way it's going.
Yeah. That's why it trips me out how some of this shit is backwards these days. Where like homies were trying to get off the street, like using music or hip hop to get off the street, change their situation, and legitimize their shit, right? And now you see motherfuckers bringing it right into the industry, and you know, claiming they shit right there on their records, and like, you know, exacerbating beefs that they already have with other motherfuckers that are on the other side, and we've seen motherfuckers get killed over it. Yeah. And that's the crazy shit, because you know, this used to be the outlet to save your life, not put the bigger target on your back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, cause if I had come into the game still with that gangbang chip on my shoulder and like claiming my set on every song and saying, fuck these guys, fuck that set over here, and this is this on mine, I would have painted a big ass target on my back for them to, you know, come and challenge me, or you know, whatever might unfold. Because I mean, you know, if we're being 1,000, the folks that make up our industry as the creatives, we all come from the same places. Not all of us, but most of us come from the same type of places, and have dealt with similar struggles and have done some wild shit before we got on, you know. So you take that into account and say, well, I know that on the other side, I'm looking at a mirror of me, and how I would react if A, B, or C goes down, and I gotta assume that they're the same way. So I gotta be careful, with the actions that I'm gonna take. You know, if I'm gonna get buck with somebody, or if I'm gonna just be like, you know what, I'm gonna step back. And usually, the way that I deal with it now is I try to be like, if a beef is ensuing, I'm not necessarily trying to make it worse and go after a motherfucker. I'm more like trying to, you know, be chill and not be emotional about it, and let it turn into something that you can't turn back from. Yeah. Because
also, I've had to say this because I'm raising a 14-year-old son as a mom, you know what I'm saying? And as much as his dad's in his life, obviously, and like everything's cool, but like I spend 90% of the time with my son. Right. So I'm constantly here, and I don't want to be the overbearing mom, because, you know, I feel like boys start ignoring you once you're like too much. So I try to kind of level with him, right? And sometimes I do have to, like, you know, remind him about certain things. Like, I'm like, you know, you're a boy, you know, sometimes you might not be looking for trouble, but somebody might kind of be jealous of you, and they nitpick and they try to find any reason to have a problem with you, you know. Or for example, he got in a fight or whatever, and I'm like, you might not have started that fight, and you might win the fight, but you have to now be careful of somebody retaliating, somebody that can't take the L in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things are just real things that you have to, like, let your child know and be like, look, I understand that as a man you have, you know, you have your pride and you have your ego and everything, but like, and I'm not trying to raise no kid that's, you know, gonna run away from everything, but at the same time, you need to think of what's worth it and what's not. And so I had to, like, place examples in front of him and be like, there has been legends, real people that have done amazing things with their life get taken out by somebody who had nothing to lose. Right. And so, like, when you have something to lose, you need to, like, get that in perspective and, like, understand that any Joe Schmo can literally be jealous of you and come and take that from you, and there is no coming back sometimes from that. And so sometimes it's like, even having those conversations, I'm just like, I'm even teaching myself, because sometimes, you know, I'll off the cuff say some shit and I'll get myself in some shit where now I'm like, damn, do I have to, like, you know, like, be always watching my back and shit because I said, you know, I responded to somebody and embarrassed them. So it does calm you down, and it makes you be like, yo, legends have been taken out by, like, nobody ass, loser ass motherfuckers. And why the fuck, you know, like, let's just, when you have something to lose, and when you have a family, when you have built something, when you have made amazing things happen in your life and finally found happiness, is when you most have to be like,
Yeah.
Let me not.
You got to learn how to fall back in certain times and just, hands off it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, yeah, we lead with emotion, ego, pride, and shit like that. Or we let ourselves get pissed off, right?
Yeah.
And that is the worst time to make any decision to react to something when you're pissed off. Because then, you end up fucking yourself up worse than if you would have just thought about it and calmed yourself before you made any one fucking decision, before you said a word. Because there's actions that you might do that you can't take back. There's words that you might say that you can't take back. When you do them when you're emotional and pissed off, it's like in the art of war. That, if you want to get the upper hand on one of your enemies and shit, you piss them the fuck off so that they make a mistake and you capitalize off that mistake.
Yeah.
And we do ourselves in without an enemy based off of shit like that because we don't sit back, calm ourselves before we make a decision. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy because we will make that decision knowing that we possibly are fucking up by doing this, but we're mad enough to say fuck it and burn everything to the ground. When everything's burnt to the ground, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why didn't someone stop me? You know what I mean? And we don't have no accountability for that. We did it to ourselves. And that's why, I'm not very reactionary when someone says something crazy to me or about me. I might say to them, hey, we might run into each other at some point, but I try not to give it a lot because it's like, what are words?
Yeah.
Half the time motherfuckers ain't gonna say this shit to your face, so why make it worse by like, when I see this motherfucker, blah, 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 or when I see you.
Well, at this level, does that still happen to like a BREAL, Cypress Hill? Like, is there still motherfuckers from like, however long ago being like, hey, and you're like, bro, really? You ain't let that shit go?
I try to get along with everybody for the most part.
You seem like a super down to earth, chill.
I try not to be like putting out a vibe that you can't approach me. Like I try to be cool with everybody. If someone's being disrespectful, that's different. I might tell them to step the fuck back or whatever, or to just chill out. But mostly I don't have that. Most people come to me and it's all good vibes, it's all love, and I don't roll around with bodyguards to make people feel like they can't approach me or whatever. You know what I mean? I learned in the 90s that was just a way to attract more bad energy. Even though they're there to protect you and shit like that, sometimes they cause you the most problems because people want to maybe challenge them, or they're like, oh, you got these bodyguards, you think you're this shit, and blah, blah, blah. So I remove that, and am able to walk amongst the people in these crowds and not feel like I'm in danger. Like, it's love for the most part, and so I don't carry that old anger I used to have that I might have popped off back in the day if I thought someone was being weird with me in some sort of way, or maybe I was creating it in my own head. Someone was looking at me and I might like, what the fuck is that person looking at? Not realizing that, hey, they might be a fan and they're looking at me like, oh shit. And so, I had to, learn how to peel that shit off. And it's worked for me, because I haven't had beef with people in a long time.
Right. Thank God. Hey, God bless.
We've had our beefs for sure. But like these days I'm trying to be cool with everybody because like, it just ain't worth it.
Yeah. But I had a question right now. Like, I was just telling you what it's like to be a mom raising a son, but like being a dad raising a daughter around that age, like what is there any struggles that you're like?
Well, yeah, it's those traditional dad struggles, right? When you want to make sure that when your daughter grows up, whatever she does, that she's going in knowing what the deal is, right? Like you're trying to like teach of these different paths, especially with us because we come from the music industry and we have a little bit of different insight, right? So it's trying to guide her in these different ways to show her like, hey, this is what you look for over here when it comes to dealing with people that are for you. And this is what it is when people that aren't for you, and you got to know the difference and things like that. And the other thing is, you know, when they grow up, you want them to be around people that are that genuinely love them for them, and not necessarily for any of the other shit, you know. And no matter who they choose, you want to make sure they choose the right person. You know, for me, it's as long as you're happy with them, but if they're cool fucking people, if they genuinely are good people, you know, and that you want that for your, you know, that I want that for my son, I want it for my daughter, you know. And it's that thing when, you know, when your daughter comes to the age where there might be some now possibilities of dates happening in the future. You know, you put that dad jacket on and like let whoever know, hey, there must be respect.
No,
You know?
I mean, but I feel like that's me too. For example, oh, and what I was saying was that if you wanted to, because I know you had some stuff lined up, if you wanted to ask any questions, that you could. Cause y'all both looking at each other like, what the hell's going on? Sorry.
Like,
No, but
mics, what?
no, I was saying like if she wanted to talk on the mic, because I know she had some questions. But no, I feel you, and I feel the same way, because my brother is basically, I mean, he's like, I won't say I raised you because I don't want to disrespect my mom, but we spent more time together in my entire life, like in his entire life, than he did with anyone else.
You were making sure he was not with the wrong girlfriend.
No, he was since he was a little boy, like I would bottle feed, I'd change diapers, like everything that I could. You know, we're 6 years apart, but you know, in Mexican families, like the older sister becomes. You know, I'm the babysitter,
like mom,
I'm the take care, I'm everything,
sure.
You know. My parents were working, so we were always alone, and I was always like trying to make sure my brother was good. So by the time my brother starts dating, you know, that was my rough draft of having a son, where I'm like, I wonder what my brother's gonna date. I'm like, I wonder if I would be mad. I wonder if I would be like, yo, she needs to, you know, get him tortillas or whatever. I'm like, whoa, am I being machista for thinking that she should get him, you know, the food? So I start like asking myself. So then I start thinking, what is my son gonna end up dating? You know, like, how am I gonna get along? But what I will tell you, as a mom of like a boy who pushes the limits on everything because he is a habitual line stepper, and he tries to negotiate everything. He asked me for 80% of selling my own clothes. He was like, I'll sell your clothes, give me 80%. 80% He said, give me 20% of managing my career. He was like, I can get you endorsements. He's like, give me all your accounts, I will get you some stuff. He's like, and give me a percentage. I was like, 5%. He's like, 10. I was like, what? You're a 14-year-old.
The negotiation skills.
This man is going after, he's going for the jugular, and I love the confidence. However, calm the fuck down, you know? But I will say, it makes me just wonder, where the fuck is this kid going? What is going to happen? But if a girl ever comes back and brings me my son and goes, you raised this bitch made ass motherfucker, what the I will understand. Because that's how I returned his dad. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, sometimes you do have to like level with women and be like, if my son's acting wrong, what did he do? Because I know this man, you know? Have you ever gone through that type of experience? Like where maybe you didn't do the right thing, but now you reflect and you're like, oh yeah, I could have maybe been the problem.
Oh, half of life.
Do you have anything, you know, any stories you might want to share with us that maybe these guys can learn from?
Well, you know, here's the thing. You have to be able to own your shit, own your mistakes in order to grow. Yeah. Right? In order to, you know, sort of be able to teach someone else. You got to be able to admit your own mistakes and own that shit, instead of what a lot of us do, deny and make excuses for. Like, I can't make excuses for the mistakes that I made. You know, I had a choice in life. No one made me do anything. Yeah. You know, I could say, oh, well, so-and-so influenced me to go steal this car. Yeah. But ultimately, I went and stole the fucking car.
Yeah, you did what you did, yeah.
So I've been, from that time to now, when I got out of that shit and I got into music, I started trying to own my mistakes so that I could actually be able to, like, you know, tell others, you know, like, hey, listen, this is not the only path for you. You could do this, this, and that. I know you fucked up here and fucked up over here, but you can redeem that. There's another way out for you, as opposed to just this. This is here because You know, sometimes we have to survive off of doing fuck shit like this, but if we put our mind to it and we get an opportunity, we can do other stuff. But in order to be able to tell people that, you got to own the shit you did before.
Yeah.
And, you know, I ain't proud of a lot of the mistakes I made, you know, especially as a gangbanger and shit like that, you know what I mean? But it molded me to what I am now, and it gave me enough knowledge from the street level and to just in life to be able to tell someone else, hey, don't do that shit.
Yeah.
There's other options out there for you. This ain't for you, because this is what you're going to encounter if you fucking take this route. And I know kids don't be wanting to hear that shit from older motherfuckers, but if you're straight up gangbanging or thinking about it, or someone else that you know is doing it, and you think that they're cool, and you know, like you're trying to maybe go do the same shit as them, hey, listen, this is what the fuck it is. And I could tell them that shit. You know, if I hadn't owned any of it and I was just in denial, and I got no right to tell these motherfuckers anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it's important that you own who you are, from who you were to who you are now. And, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, you're never just one person. You can always flip it and change into something else, change it into something better. But you have to know this, and you have to plant that seed. For so many years, people will say to themselves, I ain't gonna be shit. I ain't shit, so I ain't never gonna be shit. And then they manifest that.
Yeah.
And we talk about this shit on my show a lot, is that you got to manifest something different to yourself and say, I am the shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, you know, manifest positive things to yourself, and, you know, you'll become easy on yourself instead of punishing yourself for the shit, you know, that you fucked up on, that you feel bad about.
Yeah.
That sort of is like an anchor sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When that's all you know.
Yeah.
You keep reverting back to that shit, and you keep being like, you know, but it's like trying to be better. But have you ever gone through, like, you came out of where you came from, like, same way that I did, but do you ever go through, people try to pull you back?
Oh, yeah.
They be like, oh, I know that motherfucker from, you know, XYZ.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't shit. Or, like, you know, with me, they'll be like, oh, she wasn't this, she wasn't that. And it's just like, or people that are haters, obviously, they always try to say some negative things. And it's just like, bro, like, look at you. Like, have you ever do you ever have petty moments? Because I feel like for me, I look at you and I feel like you're composed, you're OG, like your life is in order, you know, you got your shit. But then it's like, do you ever have a petty moment where you're like, you know, but you're like, all right, but then you're like, because I do.
For sure. I mean, we're human and shit, you know. Like, when I hear some of the shit motherfuckers be saying, I'll be like, fuck out of here. But
like, you're on meth.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you know.
Stop talking to me. Sorry. See, the beer is getting to me.
Hey,
see?
I feel you. For me, it's like, you know, I just try to ignore shit, you know, like from day one, we all said to each other, we're not going to pay attention to anything any critics say, whether it's bad or good. We're not going to let it influence us in any fucking way.
Is it the weed? How are y'all so fucking gung-ho? What's going on?
We were just very disciplined in this.
Wow.
You know, fuck
Ito,
you
we're
attitude.
fucking up, dude.
we were just very disciplined in this fuck you attitude, you know, like this was our armor, you know what I mean? And we were just going to be like that. And if they didn't like us, fuck it, you know what I mean? And fortunately it resonated, but realistically, that's what I've carried throughout, you know what I mean? Just like, you know, I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm not going to apologize for being who the fuck I am. And if you don't like it, that's cool. It doesn't affect me. And if you do like it, that's fucking great. You know, roll with us, you know. The only thing that I don't react to, I mean, well, I react to is the disrespect shit.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes I'll find myself like on Instagram, I was getting myself in trouble left and right because motherfuckers would say some slick shit in my DMs every now and then, or not my DMs and on my comments every now and then.
Yeah.
And I'm one that, hey, I'm a verbalist. I will give you the verbal ass whooping you need.
Yeah.
If
talk
that's
that
the case.
shit.
If you want to go with me right there on the comment shit, let's go. I'm a wordsmith, right? But what started happening was that I'd be getting baited by motherfuckers to go into these arguments, and then they'd report me for bullying.
Yeah. Like they'll say something, and then
They'll
the
say
moment you
something-
reply, all of a sudden you're flagged, and now
Yeah.
you're about to lose your account. That's what happens to me on TikTok. People will go on my live and they'll say some random shit. I reply, and now all of a sudden they're like, "You're gonna get banned forever." I'm like, "What? That's crazy." But like he said, I'm trash. But if I responded, "Your fucking hairline's receding," all of a sudden now I'm about to lose my account. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like for instance, right? When I was doing Prophets of Rage, I would get motherfuckers that would like whenever I posted a Prophets of Rage like clip or whatever, I'd get like someone fucking calling me commie. I'm like, commie? I'm like,
What?
you little motherfucker. My mother escaped communism. I would never be talking no communist
Where's
shit.
your mom from?
She was from Cuba.
Okay.
She escaped in 1968. And and I said something to this motherfucker. I said, "You would never say that to my face because I will whoop your ass." And boom, get flagged for bullying. But the motherfucker called me a fucking commie and some other shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hell no. My mother escaped from this shit. And this is just because I'm rolling with Morello, who people call a communist, doesn't mean fucking I am. So don't fuck around with me with that shit.
Yeah.
And so, people would hit me with that shit now and then. And when I got fucking hit with that strike, man, they fucking lowered my shit on everybody's feed.
Mm-hmm.
It really fucked up my page. So I had to learn to not react to that shit and just be like ignoring it. If I see it, fuck it, block them, report them for that shit, for harassment.
Yeah.
So, I just stopped arguing with people on on IG, even though I loved it.
Right.
I love the petty part of it. Like, oh, you want to get petty? Let me show you. I'm Tom Petty, motherfucker. I'm Richard Petty. I'm ready fucking
Right.
petty. Let's go. And,
You know what's crazy? I had to delete Instagram off my phone. I added it to my girlfriend's phone, and I'll kind of ask her, can I borrow her phone to check my Instagram? Because I've been getting so... Bro, I will be in the most beautiful water in the Caribbean Sea with my girlfriend, with my son. Life is perfect. And I'm arguing with some fucking guy in Milwaukee like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to just get a check on myself and my perspective, because yes, I post about the state of the United States, which by the way is questionable. We all could agree.
yes, absolutely.
So I just post, or for example, there's sometimes where like I'll post about Mexico. I'm Mexican. I'm a Mexican citizen. So it's like I'm proud of the strides that Mexico is making towards the future. So I'll post about it. I'll be like, yo, I'm so proud that we are now adding this. I can do that. Me being happy and proud about that will attract a 45 Mexico haters that'll be like, yeah, but blah blah blah, and I'm just like, bro, like this has nothing to do with you. Like I could be American and hope for better America, and I can also be a proud Mexican and hope for a better Mexico.
Right.
That doesn't mean hoping for a better Mexico means I hope the United States goes to shit. I actually hope the United States improves because I believed clearly in the American dream. Like we're here. My parents believed in it. We're here. However, our truths apparently don't align because you're delusional and a crackhead. So now I'm cussing at you from fucking Dominican Republic. So I asked my girlfriend, I was like, babe, can I please, I need to just get some perspective and be as disciplined as you, because there's no way that not my cholesterol. The cholesterol is the chicharrones and the tostadas. The high blood pressure is you hate
stress.
Is the stress.
The stress over the bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't even respond to them anymore. I just fucking block them.
How do you don't think about it later?
I do, but I'm like, you know what?
I love the honesty.
But I say fuck it. It ain't worth like getting my page fucked up again and getting all worked up, because like if I look at it and I let it get to me, I'll get fucking mad and I'll want to fucking meet this person and beat the living shit out of them.
Me too.
But I know that that's not realistic, and it's not conducive to the
I'm like,
exclusive.
is it not?
It's not conducive to the exclusive. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep it moving. And
okay, conducive to the exclusive. I got to keep it moving.
That's right. That's right.
I need to be on that type of time, bro. Maybe it's the weed, bro. Maybe I need to smoke some more weed.
It took me a while to get there, and to be honest, to be 1,000, shit, if I didn't smoke weed, I would probably off the chain. Like, I'd be an asshole, and I would get myself probably in more trouble than you guys could ever fucking think.
I need to smoke weed.
So I smoke lots of weed so that I am chill and not ready to pop off. You know what I mean? So I could say that, you know, like in terms of what weed has done for me, it's allowed me to chill the fuck out, think about things before I fucking do them. Sometimes overthink them though. You know what I mean? Because weed will have you in your fucking in your head like a motherfucker.
That's the problem. Look, I mean, at this point, I will say, bro, like since I was since I started rapping, people would be like, "Why don't you smoke more?" Right? Because I here and there, I've had certain shroom trips that have like reset my life. And I have a respect for shrooms just based off the fact that I've only ever done it when I was at a point where I was like, bro, I hit this, and I need to find it. And I've done it. And it's changed my life. And I feel like it has literally been the most important thing to me going like Mario, like just going to that next level. I feel like it's done it respectfully. I'm not a person that just does it all the time or nothing. Like I like to keep my feet on the ground, but whatever. Weed, I also have a respect. I smoke to sleep here and there. I'll smoke to relax, watch a movie, whatever, but I've never just gone. You know why? And I've always said it my whole career, because if I was to really become a pothead, I always said this sentence: I will be barefoot on a farm. I will be barefoot on a farm and retire the music thing, retire all that, and just live just this like super farm, whatever. And it's crazy that now I live on a ranch. I have chickens, I have goats. It's like, it's almost like I'm not going to escape what I eventually want to do anyway. So it's like, it's chasing me throughout life. Like I still want to rap, I still want to do my thing, but like the farm life barefoot is still chasing me. And now,
hey,
we're there, but
you're right here.
It's in your soul. Like I almost feel like weed is going to align you with what you really want. And I know what I really want probably is eventually to not do what I do. But I love this. So I'm like, let me,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people use it the same way. Like they may not use it throughout the day. They may use it to like chill out at night when they don't got to do shit.
Yeah.
Some people use it to actually function and do shit because they want to chill out and have like this fucking hyper focus on something.
Yeah.
Because weed does that to some people, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if let's just say you're farming and you fucking smoke weed and you're one of those people that like, it makes you just work more or concentrate on your work. It's like people.
What type of strain is that? Can I get some of that?
Well, it depends how you're each individual reacts to the different strain you're smoking. Like, so for instance, right, indica is like fucking heavy. And a lot of people don't want to fucking do shit off of indica. Yeah. But there's others that could totally function and do shit. Like, you ask someone who goes to the gym, they're like, oh yeah, I worked out harder when I smoked before the gym. I actually went over the time that I initially go to, it gave me this extra focus. And the same thing as if they were working on art or any other thing, like it gives them this in-depth hyper focus that, maybe if they were sober, they weren't, they're not as tuned in, and the distractions happen and, allows them to take away from it. But like some, it just puts them right in the game, and others can't operate off of it at all. Yeah. Right. With sativa, it's the same. Some people it charges up. Some people it gets real high where they don't want to do shit. And some people function like a motherfucker with it because it's not so heavy on the head. Yeah. And someone tried to correct me a couple weeks ago. And if you're watching, indica is for the head and sativas for the body. You could ask that from anybody.
Then I need to smoke sativa.
Yeah, sativa's good,
And then indica at night.
It ain't gonna knock you the fuck out like indica does. Yeah, indica.
But is there brands like is there like, I mean, is it like everything pretty much? Like, you might like In and Out, you might like,
Well, there's what's good about right now with weed is that there's so many hybrids out there that you could choose like a indica dominant hybrid or a sativa dominant hybrid. It just depends where you want to be. But if you go to certain dispensaries, most of the bud tenders know what the fuck they're talking about. So if you just ask them some questions or tell them, hey, this is what I was kind of looking for, they'll suggest the right strains for you.
Just motivated me. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this. Like I really want to. I think, you know, my brother's like, please do.
I mean, there's even weed you could smoke right now that's not completely like strong as like the shit like, let's say we smoke, right? It's like totally less THC, and people are that are like intrigued or they want to try it in some sort of way, maybe from the medical aspect, but they don't want to get so fucking high. They have low dosed cannabis now with the Delta 8, Delta 9 shit, you know.
I like that. Delta 8.
Like so
write
Mellow.
That down.
Right. So Mellow Man, right? Mellow Man Ace, my brother, Sendog's younger brother, sorry. He don't smoke weed like he used to. He used to be a weed head like us way back when we were in our teens and early 20s. He was a fucking weed head like us. He could smoke with the best of them. For a very long time, he has not smoked cannabis. Okay. So he doesn't smoke with us. You know what I mean? What he'll do is when he wants to have that feeling like he's smoking with us, he'll bring some of that Delta 8. And it'll give him a slight head change, but not too heavy. But he feels good. Okay. You know what I mean? And so some people that are just trying to get into it like on the lowest of levels in terms of I don't want it to like fuck me up. Yeah, people are going to Delta 8. Yeah. So
because I'm obsessive compulsive. Here's what could happen. Let's say, because I have smoked, like in my life, you know, like I said, middle school was the first time that I ever got weed. So like I have gone through my phases of just like smoking, but I'm obsessive compulsive, which means I will that is my shit now. And this is what I do and this is how I live. But I have so many things that are constantly, as an independent artist, having everything that I have going on. There is so many variables that are constantly changing that it gives me anxiety to not be prepared for those, that then I just give myself anxiety when I'm high because I know how many things are happening. So maybe a Delta 6, Delta 8, Delta, whatever. I mean, I have miles on American, but I'll go Delta if I need to. Yeah. You feel me? Get a medallion if I need to.
Delta 8 is the only good Delta.
Hey.
I'll say this, right? So I have one of my homies, you might have heard of him. He's a producer named Apathy. He's based in the East Coast, right? And he never touched weed or any of that shit because he always was worried about anxieties, because I think he has OCD or something like that.
Period. Right? Shouts out.
And he, you know, there's all these things that he always wanted to do, but he would get distracted and never really do them and things like that. And he said recently that he got into doing edibles, but low dosage edibles, like 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams.
A Tic Tac.
Yeah, something like that. And he said, you know, he was afraid at first because he thought it was going to hit him and he was going to have the crazy anxieties. And that's the shit that like fucks him up is the anxieties. Like he cannot function when he gets to that point. But he said when he tried these edibles that were at like 5 and 10 milligrams, it allowed him to focus in a way that he had never imagined. Right. He, you know, like all the, you know, he's not going to go above that until he knows that his tolerance is there, and he maybe needs a little bit more to get him there. But, you know, he figured out what worked for him to where now the things that he wanted to do, which one of them was hiking. That was like a big thing to him that he wanted to do, but he could never work himself up to go do it. And when he started doing the edibles at that low dosage, it gave him the focus and took away the anxieties and all the outside voices and the shit, the distractions that stopped him from going and doing that stuff. And he said since then, he's never felt more productive in the studio, working and focusing on shit and doing the tasks that he wanted to do for self, like the hiking and stuff like that. So now he's been hiking, he got the gear, and because he tried it at the right dosage, and he talked to the right people, as opposed to like going to somebody that didn't know what the fuck to tell him and gave him too much and then ruined the experience and then never wanting to try it again. Because that happens. You know, one of your friends comes to you and says, hey man, I want to smoke weed, point me in the right direction, and you might give them what you smoke and it might be too much for them, and they're like, oh hell no. I don't ever want to do that again. But
Yeah, like me when I was on tour with Cottonmouth Kings, that was stupid.
Oh,
that was
boy.
not good. I didn't even smoke like that, and I had a baby. Like people didn't realize that I had a 1 to 2 year old at home, and this was my opportunity to go on tour. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go on tour. So then I ended up smoking with Cottonmouth Kings, and you know what they told me? Breaking their bong.
They want
That
you.
was a bad idea. I got
Oh.
greens
You broke
on a
their
bong
bong?
hit. No.
Oh, you
I got
broke in their
greens,
bong.
broke in their bong. Greens on a bong hit. Bro. And then I remember that at that time, my cousin had actually gone to go get, by the way, this is when my baby was little. So, my cousin, they had gone to go get spaghetti. I think the venue was giving us like food or something. So by the time that they showed up, I remember that they showed up with like, it was tall of spaghetti. And I was like sitting on the floor like this. And I was like, I need to go home. I need to go home. I need to see my son. I need to go home. Like, that's all I was saying. And I was like, yeah, weed'll get you fucked up. That was Cottonmouth Kings. There's no reason I should have been that. There's no reason I should have thought I could even smoke with them ever.
Yeah.
Have you ever been too high? Was the last time you got too high?
There's 2 times that I was very much too fucking high. Most days, no, not really. I got control of it and I got super tolerance. But there was one time, we're filming the video for Latin Lingo. So this is probably 91, 92, something like this. And after the video, we ran out of weed because I smoked up all my weed for the video. And fortunately, it was one of my favorite videos because I didn't have to do much in it. That's Send Dog's song. So I just got a couple lines. But they had me there all fucking day, you know. And back in the day, I fucking hated doing videos, you know. I had to get used to it because I didn't like being in front of the camera and all that shit. But I ran out of weed. So I went to go see my homie in Long Beach, who was, you know, one of the guys we would get weed from every now and then. And he worked with us, too, at the time. So I said, hey, the video's done. I'm coming over. I got to re-up. So I go to Long Beach, and he's there with 3, 4 other homies, and they're taking bong hits from a 3-foot graphics bong, I think it was. It's before all the glass starts happening. It's still that acrylic shit. And they're like, hey, you want a bong hit? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Hit the bong. And then it went around in the circle 2 more times. And to me, it was nothing because I hit bongs and smoking all kinds of weed and shit. But within 20 minutes, I start getting the anxieties that shit just before a panic attack is happening. I'm like, hey, man, can you open that window? It's fucking hot in here. Man, it's fucking hot. Hey, you know what? I fucking got to go, man. And I jumped in my big Boudelac, which was the Cadillac that I had, a Caddy Seville. And I fucking went back home, and it felt like I was floating on the freeway. It didn't even feel like I was driving, like I was floating. I was so fucking high.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, he calls me the next day, and he's like, dude, what the fuck was up with you last night? You were, like, way high. I've never seen you like that before. I said, yeah, man. I don't know what it was. I was fucking, like, I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, maybe it was the hash on the...
Oh.
Like, what? I thought I was just taking regular fucking bong hits and there was hash on the bottom of them and I didn't know, right? There's a different mindset when you know. So
yeah,
you
you're
know,
ready for that shit.
You're ready and you know what to expect. Like, I'm gonna be high as fuck, and you're waiting for it and it happens and you deal with it. But when you don't know, it's a different level of fucking high. And I had to leave there because I couldn't understand why I was so high just off of 3 bong hits.
Yeah.
That's easy work for me. And then he told me there was hash underneath the fucking weed, and then it all made sense to me.
Yeah.
But I was high as fuck. I was so high I had to fucking leave.
Yeah.
Right? So fast forward to let's say 5-6 years back when dabs first start happening.
Oh shit.
We were doing a 420 show in Denver, and some of the Weed Maps crew were up there, and they all were all like dab ninjas. They all had their own rigs. They all had their own concentrates. They all had their own dab tools, and they were fucking chiefing out. So, you know, they're looking at me like, oh, you're the king of weed. Here, let's smoke. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I took, again, 3 hits. I don't know why it's the 3. I guess it's the magic number, like they say, right? So I did 3, and within 45 minutes, I was telling my boy, like, hey, get everybody the fuck out of here right now. I need, like, and I had a show. We had a show that night, right? Because it's 420, right? And I am fucking high as fuck, because I like, not only did I take 3 dab hits, they were like really big fucking dab hits, right? They made sure to fuck me up, right? But I'll tell you what, I needed 45 minutes to recompose and meditate out of that crazy ass feeling I had for being so high. All the other motherfuckers went home and went to sleep. I did the show that night.
Period. Hey.
You know what I'm saying? I am resilient.
Yes.
But I got to tell you, I was high as fuck.
Oh my God.
I was like, that was the highest I had gotten since my first time getting high.
Why do y'all put yourself through that? That sounds so hard.
I didn't think I was going to go through it. You know what I mean? But like fuck.
They all went home?
Yeah, they went home. I think maybe one of them came to the show. I don't think any of them came to the show, because they all got devastated. I mean, I know I was fucked up. And I think maybe they were trying to impress me, like going shot for shot with me. And I think they fucking went to sleep, because I didn't have the luxury of going to sleep.
Right.
I had to go
you
to
gotta
a
work.
show. It felt like the whole show I was out of my body. We still did it, and we rocked it, and the love was there, but fuck, I was so like not there.
Mental gymnastics.
Oh,
He's
man.
working hard. I'm like, but you also could have not smoked that much.
Oh, it was torture, I gotta tell you. Like,
that's the only thing I gotta say about smoking is, like, I just be like, and you know what? Oh, that's what I was just gonna say. And about drinking now, like, literally, I'm just like, the thing sometimes, like, for example, babe, can I get a lap? I was gonna say a lap dance. No, I'm just kidding.
You say a lap
Like,
song.
whoa, I just spilled this. Sorry, can I get a lap
thought you were
dance?
gonna say a lapkin.
A lapkin? There you go. Thank you.
That's the new shit.
I could have spun that to a lap dance. You know what I'm saying? No. Sorry. Oh, and here we have, by cleaning this, imagine this was all orchestrated. I'm like, and here are some questions that we would like to ask. Be real. No, but yeah, it just feels like, why do we sometimes put ourselves through something? And I think it's like all in the name of like having fun. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Or like being cool, or like people do challenge you, right? Like with me, people know I drink tequila. So then next thing you know, I'm 6 shots in with like Pepe Aguilar, and it's like, he's 7 foot fucking tall. There's no reason I should ever think I could drink with that man.
Right.
I had to, that was...
Yeah, people, when they know you got something, they'll try to challenge you with it.
That's why, do you know that that's the reason that I stopped rapping so aggressively, was because every time I showed up to like Power 106 or Breakfast Club or wherever.
What about a freestyle?
Give us a freestyle. Why don't you give us some bars? And I'm like, why? You just had boopity boop-ops, lil, young whatever the fuck rapper, and they don't have to do nothing. They barely put a sentence together. But me, I gotta give you lyrical, miracle. Yeah, no.
All the shit.
Stop.
Yeah.
Please. So.
Yeah, they do catch rappers like that. Like, it should be like something they tell you beforehand. That way, like, you could fucking say, yeah, you know what, I'll do a freestyle. I'll have something ready. Or nah, you know what, I'm not feeling that. Because when you put somebody on the spot, man, and they feel like, oh, fuck, now I got to. Very rarely. Like, some people work under that pressure and will fucking kill it. And others will not.
Most
so much
don't.
kill it.
Most have something prepared. And with me, it just became the principle. It just became like, why me though?
You have to kick some, because your bars were so incredible. They wanted to see you kick them like right off the top, and they, it's like.
Yeah, but it's like, it should almost be like, okay, cool. If I give you this, will you play my song on radio for a month?
Right.
Like, what do I get for doing this? Because they don't have to do this, and they get all the radio play.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it's more like, okay, cool. If skill set and me proving myself equals support.
See, that's a good bargain, because my shit is this. Like, for me, I stopped going to radio a long time ago, because realistically, I already know, like, I'm in the age bracket that some of them are fans, but they can't necessarily validate playing my music to this younger generation on their fucking platform, right? So if I'm in there, it's not necessarily for me, for my music. It's just because the name, and they have me in there for a little while, and we're shooting the shit about the old music and maybe what I'm doing now, but they can't support it. So it's like, okay, well, if I already know how the viewership is or the listenership is on radio because I worked radio for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And I know that out of sight, out of fucking mind. And it doesn't matter if you come and do an interview there and I play your fucking song that day and I play half of your album that day. If I'm not playing your fucking record the day after you leave and the day after that and the day after that, nobody fucking remembers it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, well, then why am I going up there if it's going to be a one-time pop and you're not going to support my shit? This is mainly for you.
Yeah.
You know, so like I did this thing where I said to myself, I'll only go to radio if it's Big Boy, my homie Striker, or maybe Letty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's my homegirl.
Period. Shouts out Letty.
I would show up for Letty. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sorry. I said that, not you.
You said that.
You know we out here. Hey, Letty, how you doing?
Yeah, you
Hi. No, I'm joking.
You know, I would show up for her, you know, and Jay Cruz and stuff like that.
By the way, my bad. I only said that because Letty literally, when this whole, like, when everything's been going on with Trump and the politics and everything, she was like, let me know what day you're pulling up. Like, I love that she's very, like, for the political, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's like trying to give me a platform, especially with everything to do with undocumented immigrants and everything. So I love the support, but I love that the undertone is always like us talking shit to each other. Yeah. So it's good, but my bad. Not to involve you.
That's when you know it's a real one, though. Like when you could talk that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you could talk that kind of shit with someone, and you know it's like, you know.
Yeah,
it's both y'all are like cool with that shit. That's when you know you got a real one, and she's definitely for a lot of us out there. Yeah. So like in that regard, I'm for her. You know what I mean? So like, there's only a few people I'll show up to radio for because anything else is just a waste of my fucking time unless they're rotating the shit out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Out of something that we're doing. Like I just went to Power 106, with Coyote, right? Because I did a song called Slang with them, and you know, Power 106 is actually supporting the song. So, you know, the brothers called me along with Zoe Osama, so I went up there to support with them. And in that regard, when they're supporting something, yeah, I'll fucking go up there. Yeah. But like, if they're not supporting anything, I'm not gonna fucking waste my time because I know that I have my platform where people do actually support what we do. Yeah, you know.
Which, by the way, actually, now that we talk about Letty and everybody that we know in LA, and we talked about this on your podcast, but I want to get an official, you know, yes or no, if you would ever do a 24-hour challenge with me.
I would absolutely do a 24-hour challenge with you.
Yo, this is the first time I ever get an absolutely, yo. Cheer. Wait. Yeah. Oh, here, I still got a little bit left. Hey.
I mean, that's not even a no-brainer for me.
That's the first time I ever get an absolutely. Also, this is the first time I think a man would do a 24-hour challenge with me, not to mention a motherfucking OG. So I just struck like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I mean, come on.
This is insane.
Like, you know, I got a tremendous amount of respect for you and your skill set and your get down, like from, you know, your studio work to your writing to your live show, the whole shit. So like, without hesitation.
Yo, we gonna line this up perfectly so that 24-hour challenge is beat, song, you know, we do everything. Can I show you the one that we just dropped literally today?
Pop it.
I'm gonna show you my verse and let me know, because afterwards I'm gonna ask you if you've ever been through a situation. I went through my toxic single stage. I don't know, you know, we all have. We were rappers. The women are just throwing themselves at us. We're just here, just surviving. Sorry. Okay, no, play the song.
I hear you. I hear you.
Shorty either got stressed cause I ran through, or she got a little problem cause she dealing with her ex. She ain't understanding what I've been through. She gon' hit me late night, great sex. She gon' look back at it like a review. Fuck me up when she backed it up. Phone rang, she snatched it up. Fuck now, she's acting up. Shorty got a lot of nerve. All the shit she pulled and I still keep trying. All the hoes I curve, but she still pissed, I won't let her hold me down. I think I like her, but she still got exes around. I mean, so do I, but that shit don't count. Always something toxic, but you know I'm down. With these bitches, just when you think you found the one, it's always something with these bitches, falling in and out of love.
Hey, son with these. Hey, you might notice I'm wearing the same hat.
Oh, yeah.
We shot this yesterday.
Oh, you shot this yesterday.
We dropped it today.
Okay, 24 hours.
Tony Romiti is there ready to bowl.
Yeah, and you know she's a hell of a fucking hooper too. Did you know this?
Yes.
She could have went pro, this girl.
She is so good at basketball. And then, you know, I have a basketball court here at the fucking ranch. So, and my son wants to play basketball, but I told him, when I broke it down to him how genetics work, and I was like, baby, your dad was 5 foot. He says 5'8", but he was 5'7".
He gave himself an extra.
No, you know what he said to me? He said, you couldn't have waited around and dated a little longer to find somebody better. I was like, that is insane. He was like, I could have been a basketball player. I'm like, you know,
he wouldn't have even been him.
He wouldn't have been him.
It wouldn't have been him, yeah.
You know, but I don't know what this man. I told you, this man is bold and disrespectful, and like reaches way too far. 80%. I've never heard somebody try to come for 80% of anything I do. That is the most insane, you know. But you know, I don't know. Gotta humble this man. Look at him, trying to manage me. Look at this.
Yeah.
Do a percentage of my career and just hope you know what you're doing.
I know what I'm gonna do. I just need your Instagram. I need your WhatsApp. I need all of that.
Shit, you need my bank account too?
Low key.
Look at yo. Have you been low key?
He's gonna be about the business.
But he also kind of sounds like most people that approach me about my career nowadays. They're like, hey, listen, Snow, we have this great opportunity for you. Just give us a call. I'm like, okay, what's up? Sell us your publishing and your catalog. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Have you been lately seeing these conversations about give us your catalog, and they're like, we'll pay 10 times forward. I'm like, if you're gonna pay 10 times forward, what is the scam here? What is happening? Because so many people want to buy. And by the way, I'm just giving you too much right now about my shit, because 1, I've never signed a publishing deal. 2, I have everything about my shit other than a few songs is like not my I run my merch from home. Everything is here at the ranch. I have 4 acres in LA, which by the way, it's mostly for the chickens whenever they're ready to like run out. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I do this because 1, I want the farm life. 2, I want the family life. But 3, I like a family run business. It's where I feel comfortable. It's where I thrive. That's all I want. But the amount of people that constantly call to get a piece.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'll give you a piece. I'm not selfish at all. If somebody was to be like, yo, Snow, I got you 10 sponsors lined up. Give me this percentage. I got you. But they never do. They always want to grab first and then promise later. And if we see anything with what's been going on in America lately, motherfuckers don't do that. Motherfuckers will be like, let me grab this, and then they'll be like, wait, what do you mean? What was I supposed to do? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean they're handing out 360 deals left and right to people because they could do more with people's publishing than the actual person can.
Yeah.
Right? And they know that. They could give you the keys and tell you exactly what to do and help you out, maybe get a smaller piece, but nah, you know, they're not going to give you that game.
Yeah, they want to lock you down.
Yeah, and take you know, the music that you have and then put it to work in a different way that makes them, you know, that money back.
Yeah.
That money that they gave you, that's a lot of money, is a little bit of money to them.
Yeah.
That they will make back double and triple from what they get out of your publishing and merch and all that stuff if you should sell it. And, you know, some of those deals are based off of, you got to still go out and do tours.
Yeah.
You know, to sell some of that merch and to support some of those things that they just bought. That's part of the thing, that you got to be actively doing shit. You know, it depends on the deal you work out. Like Bob Dylan, for instance, he just sold all his catalog to his shit. He got a lot of money for his catalog. One of the most prolific songwriters out there, right? And he did it for one reason, so that his kids don't have to deal with all the craziness of the publishing and collecting the you know, the admin on the publishing and chasing the money and cashing out, so that he don't have to do any tours unless he's just, you know, wants to go have fun, because the money ain't shit to him. And now his kids, they'll inherit the money as opposed to having to fucking chase down the publishing. Yeah. And, you know, the songs will live forever through whatever this company that now owns it is going to do with it, whether it's have people remake it, whether they're going to put it in commercials or movies or TV shows or.
And they just did that movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's kind of why once he sold it, they're like, all right, start the movie.
So let's go. We got the fucking music. Let's go. Because that's the hardest thing. I mean, shit. What's his name? Andre 3000 did a movie about Jimi Hendrix, and because the family would not allow the music into the movie, that they, you know, because they own all the fucking rights to the music, they didn't like the story, so they weren't going to allow any of the original music in there, and it kind of fucked up the movie.
I mean, but right, I mean, depending on what but you know, it's all related, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the family's wrong, or maybe the story's wrong. Like, and so, like, sometimes I think about the movie, right? So sometimes I do some wild shit, and I'll be like, "This is gonna be great for the movie," and I just put it in the fucking movie, you know? Because at some point, you never know, you know. Might get, if all these fucking serial killers keep getting all these, and Lacey Peterson's story just keeps on Netflix after Netflix, you got to think at some point maybe there'll be a story about some of us rappers.
For sure.
When the story gets told, just make sure you know I didn't disappoint any lesbians.
Just don't. Yeah, don't forget that.
Don't forget that part. No, I'm just kidding. No, what I really wanted to say was sometimes I understand why the family will hold something back because maybe the story isn't telling the person's story. But sometimes there's greed. Sometimes you never know. But that's why it sucks when ¿cómo se dice? Like el porvenir de, like the how do you say that shit? The well-being or the future perception. Damn, there's some words that in Spanish they just make more sense.
Yeah.
El porvenir. Porvenir. ¿Cómo se dice pinche porvenir? El futuro de la fucking.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you leave your story to somebody and then it's like, do they really want you to be represented how you should, or are they gonna be greedy?
Yeah.
You gotta trust the people around you.
They're gonna embellish the story to put asses in seats to watch the movie. You know what I mean? Like, and,
all of a sudden you got a gay scene and you're like, whoa, I was never gay. What the fuck?
Yeah, and sometimes that's what motherfuckers will do with your story if you give it up. You know what I mean? And that was one of the parts of the story that, or the reason for the music not being in the movie was that the existing family, the existing relatives that own the estate now or are in charge of the estate didn't like the light that it was shining on Jimi Hendrix, on the way I think he treated two of his wives or one of his wives or something like that. He wasn't great to her, and he left her for a white chick or something like that, and they didn't like that part of the story being told. And you know, some of the other things, because the music wasn't in there, they had to highlight on a lot of the personal story and like some of the things you don't normally hear about Jimi Hendrix. Right. Shit. Normally you hear great things about him, and in this movie, you know, it showed his human side and the mistakes and some of the decisions he was making, and they just didn't like the way that he was portrayed, so they did not allow the music, and and like I said, it fucked up the movie. But you know, on the other end, let's just say they do got the rights to your shit, and it is a fucked up movie about you, but you gave up all the publishing and all the rights, and boom, now you're gonna have to deal with maybe a story that you don't like, but all your shit is in it. Yeah. And you can't pull it because you don't own it anymore.
You're right.
So that's the chance you take.
You're playing telephone. Yeah. But you signed your fucking rights away however many years ago, and it sucks. It's like with the Selena movie, you know? I mean, we all love Selena, we all love the story, we all know what happened. I mean, whoever, those of us that remember what was going on, we remember. But the more and more stories that keep getting told, and then now Yolanda Saldivar is coming out, now you're like, what is that movie gonna fucking look like? Because they can say anything, they can do whatever, and people are just looking for, like you said, asses on those seats or streams on that fucking Netflix or whatever. And it's just like, at what point do ethics even matter? No, you know what? That question, the fact that I don't even think that question even matters anymore just goes to let you know what we're going through in the United States. It's like, do ethics even matter? Do you know Trump just bought a Tesla in front of the White House? Wow. He just bought it, and he just sat in the seat, and it was an ad.
Yeah, it was an ad
sponsored by the United States.
Because right now Tesla has taken the biggest shit that you could take.
I know. I got a shit in my driveway.
No, I'm saying like in terms of people
You're
wanting,
right.
terms of people wanting to give them back or not give them back, but like sell them and not support them because of homies, trying to do too much over
I'm
there.
trying to give mine back too.
And they've had a significant drop in sales. They've lost a lot of fucking money. They did a Saturday Night Live sketch about it the other day.
Yeah, when he went like this $1 billion,
Oh, yeah,
you could
that's
tell that
shit.
was Dr. Evil. That was fucking fire.
That was
for all of
awesome.
us.
That was hilarious.
I was like, that would be.
Yeah.
If Dr. Evil was a person, this is what the United States is going through right now. Like, he's definitely, I think this is his comeback. You know how he couldn't figure out that we haven't had an Austin Powers right now.
Right now.
Drop it. Give it to us.
Yeah, he could come back right now. Drop a good one right now.
I own all the publishing to my music. Yo, I could sync you something in 5 minutes. What you trying to do? Tell me what type of song. I'll do the immigrants part of the fucking, taking down the government. Let me know. Which I already have a song called Immigrants, but you know what I'm saying? But no, all jokes aside, it is crazy, and we all are trying to navigate between having a serious career, having our fan base, having our business, kind of looking at what the state of the union is. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is, like you said, your mom was from Cuba, your dad, like, where are you?
Yeah, my
who are you? No, where'd you come from?
No, my mother, she was from Cuba. She came in '68, and my father, he was born in Arizona originally. Then they moved over to California. I'm not sure when, but his family was, between Durango, Mexico, and Arizona. They were coming back and forth. Something about Arizona that they loved, so a lot of his family were coming over, and they started in Mexico and migrated to Arizona, and then some of them ended up in California and whatnot. So he's more like Chicano. He never claimed to be a Mexican because he wasn't born there.
Okay.
And at that time, Chicanos or people of Mexican descent were being treated like shit. So he was kind of trying to distance himself from that.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't even really like speaking Spanish. He could, but he tried not to.
Yeah.
So that he wasn't getting judged.
Which is sad. If you really look at it,
horrible,
it's so sad to have to separate yourself from where you're from to assimilate.
Yeah.
So it's just more proof of like when people are like, make America great again. It's like, there's been some very sad times for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, which part are you talking about? Because there was people literally denying where they come from to try to assimilate.
Well, think about it like this, and everybody's got to put this into perspective, is that everybody except the indigenous folks are immigrants to this place. Everybody's lineage at some point starts from somewhere else, unless you have indigenous blood from this place.
Yeah.
And even in Mexico, we all know this shit.
Yeah.
So the crazy rhetoric that's happening is, I mean, it's just a lot of bullshit, and that's why I fucking hate politics, because they use it against people. They use it to tap into people's emotions, tap into people's anger, so that people will be outraged. And again, when you're outraged and you're pissed off, you make bad decisions.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And people have made some horrible decisions based off people stoking fires on them and creating fear and anger in the world, so that you could be totally fucking, pissed off enough to make these crazy ass decisions that people make today. And then if you're uneducated in doing these things, getting mad and making fucking decisions when you got no business making decisions in that state, most especially when you're not necessarily qualified or haven't done the homework that you should do, or you just don't fucking got a clue.
Yeah.
And politicians use that against people, is that when people aren't educated, or they're not necessarily locked in, but they're emotional, and they could be fucking they could be tapped into, and their buttons could be pushed with just a few words that could either make them angry or fearful.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, religion does this too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's why, I never been a part of any organized religion. I believe in God. I believe in the prophets, believe in Jesus and all that. I believe that there's not one way to the creator. I believe there are many ways, and people might shit on me for saying that because a lot of Christians will tell you we are the only way.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
But God is.
If you won't say it, I'll say it. You're wrong.
Yeah, no, they're wrong. God is a loving God, and whatever way you come to Him is the way you come to Him, and in His own, in the book they wrote for Him,
right?
It says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." So you cannot be the judge of others. Only God can judge. But some people feel like they can totally judge others and fucking like make decisions for them or make decisions against them and all this shit because you think this way and I think this way. Man, fuck off with that.
Right. No, and it is true. I think it's all been used as a way to control, whether it's politics or it's religion or it's whatever. I think when you think of human beings and you try to do good and you believe in empathy and you believe in, like people having the right to have a home, eat, just the most basic. When you think of the most basic just needs for a human being and you look at someone else and you're like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, let me help them. That's it, bro. Like that is really where it should be. That they get it. All this other shit, everybody's just doing it to what? Hoard billions of dollars and you're still not happy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how you could want billions and like, bro, what are you doing for humanity? Like, I don't know. It's just fucking weird to me. Like I said, my mind has always been on community living, garden, farm, chickens, goats, cows, horses, just a very, indigenous way of life, because to me, they had it right. They had it right. People came through and fucked it up. But indigenous people of every fucking continent have always had it right, where it's like, enjoy your life, man. We're here for what? Maybe tops 100 years if you fucking maybe even make it. Enjoy that. See your kids grow. You ever, thrown a ball with your kid? You smile, laugh.
All that.
Get you a bad bitch if you want, if that's what you want. Get whatever. Like, enjoy your life. Because there's people out there that literally are miserable and their enjoyment now is just making other people miserable. Yeah. Because they have billions and billions. And it's like,
well,
put a sumo suit on.
It money makes some people happy. Doesn't make everybody happy. They have all the fucking money in the world and they got a hole in their heart the size of a fucking black hole.
Right.
Because the money will never make them whole. But it gives them control. And, control over people is what most of them want. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if I could make you fear God enough to put money in that collection plate, I could build another church somewhere and pump more of that fear and get more money and spread more of that word and make more money from that word and that fear. Yeah. And that's all it ever is. And religion and politics are the same in this way. I'm going to make you fear this person over here. This person is ruining the world with this A, B, and C. We need to do something about this shit right now. And the people that don't like to do their own homework will be, oh, yeah, you know what? Fuck that person. We can't ride with them. We got to make sure this and that happened. And, we're living in a state of people just taking the word for it, not doing their own fucking diligence on shit and believing in crazy ass conspiracies. Some conspiracies are real and some are there to throw you off from the real shit that's going on. Yeah. And people are now confused on what those things are.
At what point did you get signed, you go on worldwide tours, you're doing everything, you're the most lit person, tour buses, bitches, everything that's going on. Life is what it is. At what point did you value, work-life balance? At what point were you like, you know what, maybe I'll say no to some money, but I'll be able to live some value to myself and my family?
Yeah. For me, it was like, some opportunities came to us that weren't necessarily the right ones for us that I felt like would have played us out. So, we would pass on certain things and other things just wouldn't come to us because of the cannabis shit, the stance on cannabis. Oh, well, we can't have potheads representing our brand. So more than anything, we probably we had less opportunities in things like that. We had to rely off of the music and rely off of playing shows and rely off of you know, selling merch and shit like that, because no other opportunities were afforded to us. Because one, you know, none of these corporate entities that have those opportunities for you wanted to put it in the hands of weed heads. You know what I mean? That's one. And then, you know, a lot of us that are Latino, you know, it's harder for us to break through in some of these places because we're not necessarily what, you know, they perceive as the music or the face of this music.
Yeah.
So sometimes they don't go with us. They go with you know, other folks that they feel is the face of this style of music.
Yeah.
And so we get locked out of some opportunities. But I've learned to take the ones that are right for us and make them work and make them successful in a way that, like, so for the other opportunities that haven't come through for us in the past, this creates the doorway of, you know, opportunities coming in the future. Because if they see, oh, these guys did this and they fucking won with it, maybe we can put our hands in their brand. I mean, you know, our brand in their hands.
Yeah.
And, you know, be more trusting of this group that's been around for 32 years, regardless of the weed shit. We are much more than that. You know, the thing is that people, you know, sort of tried to put us in a box and say, well, they're just a weed group. They only talk about cannabis, but that's not true. You know, you listen to our fucking full library, and on every album, there's maybe 2 cannabis songs, most of them 1, and the rest is life. You know, our experiences and the things that we were going through, and, you know, and the shit rappers do. Sometimes it's a song about nothing and we're just bragging how dope we are.
Yeah.
Because there is that, you know, there's the substance songs, and then the songs that where you're just saying, hey, you know, I'm a fucking MC with the sharp sword. I'm gonna cut your fucking head off type shit, right? So there's a little bit of all these things, but because we talked about weed, we're the fucking Latin guys that talk about weed.
Speaking about weed, some of your fans are in here and they're like, that why would you pull up to a podcast and not smoke? The
I do this all the
obsession
time.
with the smoking. Because can you get this man a blunt or joint or anything? What does he smoke?
Pedro, you got anything?
Yo.
Don't worry about it.
Wait,
you know
what
what?
is
They could deal with it. Like, I am totally fine. Like, listen, I used to do radio for 4 years, and while we were on the air, we could not smoke in the studio because it was.
We've been drinking our fucking
Yeah, we're
shots. I had
drinking.
the titty shot. He had
Cheers
the
to you.
booty shot.
Titties and ass, right? here,
You know, we're here one time, guys. You know, for all the Be Real fans, one time he's drinking, not smoking. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a bad influence that I'm making him drink, not smoke, and he's influencing me because tomorrow I will go buy, you know, a pound of weed and smoke it.
Boom.
You know what I'm saying?
The Delta.
The
Just a pound of the Delta. There you go.
You know, we're going to slowly take it, you know, daytime smoking for me on the Delta. At night, I will tell you, give me the strongest shit so I can knock the fuck out. I love, even though, what was it? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Last night? I was like, I'm tired, but I'm not sleepy. I should smoke. And, you know, I got weed in my room. So I was like, I should go get some weed. And then I was like, I'm too lazy to go get the weed, but I'm not tired enough to go to sleep, but I need the weed. And by the time I fucking sat there in a circle, I woke up the next morning and here we are. So, I don't know, but I you know, I got some weed in my room. I be smoking. I be indulging because I have ADHD so bad. I can't pay attention to a movie. So I have to smoke.
I feel you.
I have to smoke to watch literally anything, even a Netflix episode.
Yeah, you know, I smoke way too much. And I know people are freaking out off of me saying this, but I do. But I can handle it. You know what I mean? Because I've worked my way up.
Does your
to
wife,
do it.
like she just knows you?
Yeah, she knows. You know, like, she's one of the ones that, because we've been together for a very fucking long time. And I don't think she realized that she's built tolerance over the years, right? So she's one who thinks that contacts don't exist. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, babe, no, it does exist. You've just been around me for so fucking long that you've built tolerance to being around me to smoke when I smoke. Because she doesn't smoke. She used to way back. Before our daughter was born, she used to. We used to go to the you know, Bob Marley Festival in Long Beach and all that shit. She'd blaze up. And she'd only blaze up on Bob Marley's birthday. And one time I gave her shit. I said, you're going to blaze Bob Marley's birthday, but you don't blaze on my fucking birthday, right?
I'm dead.
And guess what she did?
What?
She stopped blazing on Bob Marley's birthday.
Oh,
Wouldn't he blaze on my birthday? Stop blazing on Bob Marley's
she's
birthday.
like, to show you.
I'll show
I
you.
love that.
She's a Leo. What can I
Oh,
say?
there it is.
Now you know, right? And but yeah, no, she knows. I mean, she's seen me really fucking high. Like, so one of the times where, you know, she tripped out was we were taking RSO for a while on the show. All of us were just being like monsters taking RSO and SHO. This is like concentrated version of cannabis.
I've never even heard of what is this?
In a pill form. It's like a gel cap, right?
Oh my God.
And
they're like, you know what we want to do? Make it even crazier.
Oh my God. I took so much this one night. I took like 800 milligrams, maybe 900. I filled up the whole cap.
What is this, a rhino?
And,
what is happening? Why are you doing that?
And I was doing it like to see if it, you know, would help me sleep, like get full REM sleep, but I took it too late. And when it hit me, it was probably about, I'm going to say 10, 11 o'clock, whatever. It hit me way too late, but it hit me. And, you know, and I told this story on the show. I started taking my hoodie off, and cause I keep it cool in my house and shit, you know, but so I have to sometimes put a hoodie on, right? I took that shit off. I was still hot. And I was like, okay, the floor has got to be cold. And I felt my wood floor, and it was nice and cold. And I just laid down right there because I overheated so bad.
Oh my God.
I was so fucking high. I just laid down on the floor. I don't know how long I was there. And what got my attention is when my wife walked in the room and she's like, what the fuck? And I look up, I'm like, I'm sorry, help me. She peels me up off the ground, walks me to the room. I was fucking devastated. I woke up in the morning. I was so high. I didn't smoke up until we started doing the show at 2 o'clock. And normally I'm an early smoker. Like, I'll hit the gym and then I'll, you know, smoke my weed. That day I didn't hit no fucking gym. Didn't smoke no weed until the show started. And I didn't even want to smoke that day. I was just so fucked up. But that was off of that, what they call an edible. But it was like not an edible in the sense of like,
my girl's looking at me like, you sound like me.
Yeah.
She's looking at me like, look.
You had to help her a couple times up.
Yeah, yeah. She's the reason that there's times that I get to the whatever I got to do the next day, because she's just like. So when you said she peeled you off the
She
floor.
peeled me right off the fucking ground. Oh my God. You know, and I told the homies the next day, they were all fucking in tears about that shit because they never heard no story about me being put out like that. I put myself the fuck out. And a couple times off of the RSO, but that was like the worst one. It wasn't the worst. There was one that was worse than that. That was like on an airplane. I took it right before I got on. I fucked around and listened to Eric Bobo, and no one should ever listen to Eric Bobo, right? He was like, oh, I got a gel cap for you. I'm like, well, how much is in it? Oh, about 100 milligrams. Wrong. 200 milligrams. And it hits me.
You're playing with your life.
And it hits me right before we take off. So like when we're taking off, I am feeling so fucked up. So now I'm feeling the lift, and now I'm feeling like I'm like my fucking head is spinning now. Like if I close my eyes, it's spinning. If I keep them open, I'm not spinning. It's totally the reverse than being drunk, right? And so I'm struggling to keep my eyes open, and I'm fucking overheating. And I'm trying to meditate out of it. Like fucking, I'm breathing.
Are you the commercial for not smoking? What the fuck is this?
But I wasn't smoking. This was an edible, right?
Oh, so weed anyway.
and so the flight attendant comes to me, and she didn't even ask me. She just put a ice cold water right there on my table because she saw me going through it. She didn't know what I was going through. She probably thought I was having anxieties, that I didn't like to fly, but I was on a fucking hardcore edible, and that shit fucked me up. So when the plane takes off, I'm going through it. When it goes this way to bank off that way, oh my fucking God. It was the worst experience ever. I would never take it right before. I would have to take it when we're in the air already. Done deal. And it's a long ass flight. I'll never do that shit again. That shit fucked me up more than anything. It was one of the worst experiences I ever had as a stoner.
That's what they say. They're like 90s babies saw this commercial and still kept smoking.
Oh yeah.
Like that is what it feels like though.
Oh man, that's what I felt like on that fucking airplane, man. And that was probably the worst time. And I wasn't even the highest. I wasn't even the highest. It was just the worst experience.
What is this?
RSO, Rick Simpson oil. So cancer patients take this and they suggest you take a gram a day for, what is it, Pedro? 90 days? No. What is it? 9 months or something like this? 6 to 9 months or something like that of taking a gram of RSO. Now, a gram is 1,000 milligrams.
Bro.
Some people are monsters and they take it in one shot like I did, and then they pay for it for the whole day. And then some people take it in increments. You take, 250 milligrams in the morning, and then another 250 kind of in the afternoon, then 250 in the evening, and then 250.
Why are you guys?
Yeah. Well, in there, like in that form, you're seeing the syringe. So people just, there's notches on the syringe that tells you how much to put in there. But guys like us, we don't fuck with that syringe. We go straight in with the gel cap because you feel it more with the gel cap because it hits the stomach, dissolves, and then it does the crazy work. Now, the thing about these RSO pills and the SHO pills is that they're good for you. Like they actually are healing you. It's just that you are going through this devastation if you take too much at one time. That's why you got to take them a little bit at a time. We're just extremists.
I need a shot. You're wilding.
Yeah.
First of all, people tell me I'm tripping with my tequila. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're not
wrong.
You good?
I haven't done an RSO.
Do you think if I did that, I'll like Jesus?
You need the smallest dose. You could not take the dose that we take.
Okay, tomorrow I'm starting the little bit of Delta.
Yeah.
By the time that we bowl together, I'll let you know where I'm at with the weed.
Yes.
Okay? Because I might barely have a little plant growing. I might already have a worm in it. Like the little, I don't know.
The little worm. Those work too.
I'm telling you, I got my greenhouse. We were talking about the peppers and the tomatoes. I have cucumbers. I have
you got all this shit.
Look, we're trying. And by the way, it's not just me. I travel a lot, so my cousin Yayo, he's actually had a growing garden, and he's actually grown weed. Sorry.
He's a green thumb.
He's a green thumb for sure. So that is my guy that I'm like, hey, how do you think? What do you think? 'Cause my son grew cilantro. That shit is struggling. But somehow it still finds the light, and it's still green, and it's still going. So I'm like, okay, baby, whatever you got going on here, like, figure it out. But I'm learning patience. I'm learning a lot of life lessons through this. I've never grown my own weed plant, but one day maybe I might, if I ever actually just smoke every day in the daytime, it's probably because I grew it and I'm like, hey, it's my baby. Even though that's crazy, just cut it and light it on fire.
Smoke my baby.
Is that right? That's a little crazy.
Yeah,
but
you could.
Fuck it. That's gonna be me.
Hey, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, that's the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the guy. It's named that. Well, he might have been the guy who created it. Rick Simpson is the kid they created it for because this kid had cancer.
Okay, so he made it for.
Yeah, and this family, was at the end of their fucking rope in terms of trying to find something that was gonna help, and they had tried all the shit that the doctors had prescribed.
And that was more for pain or just to like keep it going or what?
I think to try to fight against it and to take away some of the pain. And so they created the Rick Simpson oil, which it wasn't called that yet. It was called something else. And the kid, I believe they start using it on him and it starts, doing him some good. And then they renamed the oil Rick Simpson oil or something like that. Something awesome. Along that lines. And then so they started, doing trials with this shit with other patients, and it started working for them in different ways. Like one of the kids that they were using it for had massive seizures, and the kid was having over 1,000 seizures a day, and they start giving her Rick Simpson oil or something like Rick Simpson oil. And it started lessening her seizures, and she was able to now, you know, try to get some normalcy in her life, because she was a twin and her twin didn't have any of the issues that she had. So, you know, they were struggling to find something that would stop these seizures, because it was getting in the way of her development as well. And you know, they started messing with the Rick Simpson oil, giving it to her in small dosages and what they prescribed and what they thought worked. And apparently, you know, the seizures went away. And so they're finding that it helps in certain areas. It's just you don't hear about it so much from the main media, because, you know, they're in the pockets of, some of these media companies are in the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies, so they cannot fuck around and tell you, hey, this is going to help you right here, as opposed to this bullshit over here.
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, that guy, you said my moderators don't like you, and then you're like, Snow's acting like she's shocked. First of all, he's telling me something I've never heard, bitch. Like, what the fuck? I've never heard this. So I'm literally sitting here listening like a regular person, hearing the man talk, telling me brand new facts. So I'm like, wow, I'm interested. That's fucking social cues, bitch. Maybe that's why people don't like you in the chat. Okay? Yo, one more. And also, I don't even like your first name. How about that? How about I tell you that? I don't like what you named yourself first. Why don't you call yourself Short Dick Man Mike? Why don't you call yourself that, huh?
Oh, man, Midget Mike going through it right now.
Why are you calling yourself that? Okay, I don't like the first name. I don't like you telling me nothing about my moderators. And I don't like you acting like I'm not shocked by the facts he's telling me. He's telling me brand new information. Short Dick Man Mike.
Oh, boy.
See? Start with me. I'll fucking end it with you. Don't play with me. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue with your story.
It's all good.
Sorry. See, this is how we, I'm sorry.
Man, that's how, sometimes you got to deal with things, We know Midget Mike, he's off the chain a little bit.
Off the fucking chain. Put you back on the chain. Hang you with the chain. Don't play with me. You feel me? I am a fucking angry woman when somebody disrespects me. Now, you can also be like, oh my God, Snow, I love your hat. And I'll be like, wow, Short Mike. Small person, Mike. I've hung out with some small little people and they told me they don't like that word.
Yeah.
I was dancing bachata in New York with a small man and he said, I'm a little person. I was like, hey, period. They don't like that word sometimes, so you got to know. Unless you are, 3 foot tall, then you could tell me who you are. I'm not going to tell you what to identify as. If that's what you identify as, then, hey, They said, yeah, leave Snow alone. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Before you give me in my bag.
Yeah.
Throw these potatoes at you. No.
Potatoes instead of tomatoes.
Yo. Have you ever grown potatoes?
Say what?
Have you ever grown potatoes?
No, I have not grown potatoes. I grew like peppers and basil and no, actually, yeah, I had tomatoes, not potatoes.
Have you heard that so because correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not much of a gardener, but my basil flowered. And then when I was Googling what that meant, they were like, it means it's about to kill itself. So it literally flowers to throw seeds because it's done.
Yeah,
you can't even eat it no more. So my basil did that. So I leave it there because I'm a hoarder, so I don't know how to say goodbye.
You got to cut it and use it before it flowers, basically.
Yeah.
So I would imagine some people like maybe cut half of it and let the other flower so that it, pops off the seeds.
Right. Okay.
I would imagine. I don't remember.
But there's some plants that do that, and then there's some plants that just keep on going. They told me the asparagus has to live a year before
before you take it out and harvest it, right?
Well, yeah, because if you harvest it the first year, it's done. But if you let it go a year after harvest, it can go forever.
Yeah. And
just keep on giving you, So I'm learning these things, but I'm just like, what type of plant is weed? Once you harvest it, it's done.
Yeah, once you harvest, it's done. You could keep it alive by just leaving it in vegetative, right? So that you could cut clones from it. That's the way it could live for years like that. But in terms of once it harvests or buds and flowers and eventually finishes flowering, yeah, you got to cut it down and do whatever you're going to do with it, whether you're going to smoke it, dry it and smoke it, or you're going to process it and make it into concentrates or whatever. Wow. So, yeah.
That's what's so, that's how I know that how people are usually like, oh, like an old lady gardening or like somebody's gardening. Like it is so like next level learning that I do think kids should learn this shit from the jump because it's such a fucking mind-boggling, mind-opening.
Yeah.
So some plants are just done. And some plants you could keep this and do this. That's life lessons. There's like people in your life. There's some people who are there for a season. And then there's people that are there for, you know, forever. And you just gotta, these are just such important lessons.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, like those bonsai trees. You have to constantly be fucking with those to keep them alive and to keep them thriving. And it teaches you responsibility. That was one of the fucking key lessons in fucking Karate Kid was homeboy like having the fucking wherewithal to maintain this tree. Like having the focus and the discipline. Because without focus and discipline, you can't do shit.
Yeah. Like focus and discipline, I don't think it's taught as much as it needs to be fucking. I mean, it is, but I feel like people will allow a kid to like one ear at the other and they'll just be like, oh, well, I taught you what you needed. But it's like, no, motherfucker, like, listen to me. You're going to need it. Well, I guess you can't fucking say that, right? At school, if somebody called my kid motherfucker. Okay, how do you do this? How can we improve the next generation? Like, what do we do?
It's, you know, the communication is the problem with how, you know, we speak with our kids or how we speak to our kids. You know, sometimes we speak in a place where it sounds like we're angry or we are angry, and we're not like having a conversation with them. We're speaking to them, talking at them.
Yeah.
And I know when I was a kid, anybody that was talking at me, I was like fucking one ear and out the other. So, you know, that shit doesn't change. We get older and we forget that, and we start communicating to our kids the way that our parents tried to communicate with us, but we try to use maybe the skill set that we have now, but it still sometimes comes off as if we're talking at them and not talking to them. And when we're talking at them, they ain't hearing it. When we're talking to them and with them and hearing their side of it, because, you know, kids are intelligent these days, you know, like they have more access to information than we did coming up in terms of my generation, all that shit. So they could have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
The problem is sometimes we don't want to hear it because we're too much in our parent bag, or, you know, we don't want them to make the same mistakes we did. And we're trying to like impress that to them, but they're not hearing it because they're in the state that we were when we were in that mode where we didn't want to be told shit.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes, you know, but sometimes, you know, they don't want to hear it, but other kids will receive the information and will act off of it and like take it and absorb it and process it. You know, they're not all lost like that. But it's just a matter of how you communicate to them.
Yeah. No, I get you. And I think if anything, my mistake is, and by the way, I'm handing this to you because I don't want to ask that. I feel like it's almost better if you ask both of us any of this. My brother got some questions. By the way, I'm not just putting him on the spot, but he got some questions, but I'll answer with him. That way it's like, it's quick. It's maybe we do like a flash round. But what I was going to tell you is I think sometimes my problem is I give my son too much freedom. So it's like, it's like maybe, I don't know. I'll fucking figure it out. Maybe I need to have like I know the last time that my son was wilding a little bit, I met him for dinner with his dad. And he just wasn't expecting to have both of us at the same time.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah.
After being divorced for a while, both of us linking up with him for dinner and being like, hi.
Got your attention now.
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like what the fuck is this?
But yeah, all right. So ask us some of those. I know one of them was, what was our first concert
that we went to or played?
Went to. You
first
went
concert
as a fan.
that I went to as a fan was Run DMC, Houdini, and LL Cool J at the LA Sports Arena in 1986. I think it was 86. I was 16 years old. Wasn't even old enough to be in that motherfucker, but somehow I got in there with Sen Dog, and it was crazy because every gangbanger in LA was at this motherfucker. It was so crazy that there was no fights that popped off there because, I mean, again, every goddamn neighborhood showed up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that was my first big concert that I went to as a fan.
I never went to a show as a fan until I already was a rapper, which got me into an Eminem show. So the first concert that I went to that was like, you know, not, I wasn't involved anyway, was Eminem at a
That's a
festival.
good one.
That was it. But
that's a good one to go to.
right.
Okay. Do you have any phobias?
Phobias. Phobias. Do I have any phobias? It used to be confined spaces. Like I was not good. I was kind of claustrophobic, but like I got over that. I still don't like small spaces, but I don't freak out over it.
Have you ever done a escape room?
Yeah.
You like them?
It was boring.
Oh,
I mean,
you're like, I'd rather shoot everybody with a paintball gun.
Fucking shoot people with paintball guns. But I mean, the phobia I did have when I was a kid was I had a fear of heights. And on one MTV Spring Break we were performing in 91. A lot of us were out there. Busta Rhymes, he's a good friend of mine. We were out there. Drez from Black Sheep, and a gang of others. We were all partying. Naughty by Nature. We were all like good friends. So we were out there hanging out, and Tretch and Pep had just started dating or whatever. You know what I mean? Low key, and we were in, I can't remember whose hotel room, but we were playing CeeLo there, right? Which is a dice game. Their version, East Coast version of craps, but different. Anyway, we're playing there, and Salt and Pep come in, and they're like, "We just did a bungee jump. What y'all gangster rappers doing?" And we're like, "Oh shit!" Me and Tretch look at each other, and we're like, "Well, I'll do it if you do it." Like, I'll do it if you do it. All right, let's go. And I thought he was gonna back out because I was afraid of heights. I was like, "Oh hell no! There's no way I'm fucking gonna do this. Why did I tell him that I was gonna do it? Fuck it. All right, fuck it. If he goes, I'll go." But I know he ain't gonna go because I thought he was afraid of heights too,
dead.
right? So Tretch goes up first. I didn't even know he had went up. I was like looking for him. Yeah, he flaked out. He's out of here, right? Nah, he's on the fucking hoist going up.
Oh shit!
Right, and I'm like, oh hell no! I seen him jump out. He was dressed in all black, so he looked like a flea. Boom, just fucking bouncing. Like it was crazy. I was like, oh shit! I guess I'm next, cause he went up. And before I could go, this writer named Dream Hampton from The Source. She was a very acclaimed writer at the time for The Source, very respected. She jumped in front of me and went up before I did, and I was like, "Oh, now I really have to go. I cannot fuck around." Dream just fucking went up, right? So she goes up, she jumps. I'm like, "All right, fuck, here I go." And I'm going up, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, "Fuck, what am I fucking doing here?" Because I'm like deathly afraid of heights at this point. But I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna buck up." But we get to the top. And he tells me, he goes, "Look, just take 3 deep breaths on the last one, jump forward." And I did just that. I took the 3 deep breaths on the third one. I didn't jump. I actually leaned forward and fell into it. I bounced 3 times, and then my feet got tangled, and I started spinning upside down, which I fucking hate. As a kid, I hated spinning. You know what I mean? Like, no merry-go-rounds, no teacups. That's why I was not good at breakdancing, because I could not spin without getting dizzy. You know what I'm saying? So I come off of that shit. It's like I drunk like fucking 3 goddamn Old English bottles or something. I was really affected by it. But the cool thing is that after that, I was not afraid of heights anymore. I met that shit straight on, and I don't have that phobia anymore since that time. My one and only bungee jump took my fear of heights away.
That's dope. I've never bungee jumped, but I want to. I want to jump out of a plane, but I'm scared. But my girlfriend jumped out of a plane, so I don't know. I want to. I might think about it.
Go to Redman. Redman is jumping out of planes left and right. He's actually now a trainer. He's got so many hours.
Shut up.
Jumping out of planes. He's a trainer.
Yo, can you link me?
I'll link you.
Tell me. I'll do it.
He's wild. My man is wild. Like I don't know any other rapper that went and fucking jumped out of a plane. And he does the crazy jumps now. I'm like fucking Red.
So he's the one that if you want to jump, you know how you have to do it tandem, you have to do it with somebody.
You could probably do it with him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's got enough hours now. Shit, he's jumping out like crazy. Yeah, this is one of his jumps right here. One
he's
of
just
many.
Wilding?
Yeah. Look, he done no hesitation. You know, I could do a lot of things. This is one thing I don't know if I could do it.
That's insane.
And he's having a ball with that shit.
Oh,
I wonder if he's taken meth up yet, or if that's meth with him right there.
that's yeah. Where are they doing it? What state?
I don't know.
Oh, that looks like it's.
Babe, where did you do it?
Oceanside.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
They look way cooler than how your video looked. Your video, her video was just her face like. "Ah." They're like at least.
I'm getting that mask because the wind just it gives you like it's just like it's ridiculous.
Distorts
and
the
you look
face, right?
crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had masks on. That's why their
Yeah.
faces weren't getting distorted.
Okay, that's dope. That's it.
Okay. Oh, do you have any phobias?
Me? No, I'm
You're
made of
just-
steel. Yeah. No, I'm just joking. Literally, do you know? Yeah, I have sensory issues. My phobia is like synthetic fucking fabrics. Like if things are too pokey, I'm like or if I hear certain sounds, I'm like,
Yeah.
if a dog's licking himself, I'm literally like running out the room.
Okay, that's another phobia for me. Like the certain sounds, like what fucks with me the most. And Eric Bobo fucks with me with this shit because he knows it like drives me crazy. Is a marker on a piece of cardboard. So if somebody's writing with a marker on, even on a fucking paper, the sound of it drives me fucking nuts. Swear to God.
Yeah.
From when I was a kid to now.
Yeah.
More than
A homeless person making their sign.
oh man.
on
Yeah,
your way
like-
on your way to a fucking march, you're like, fuck the economy.
Oh no, if
He's
I
like-
if I have to sign autographs and it's on that fucking kind of, texture, oh man, it fucks with me because I got to do it and I got to hear it.
You're like,
And then
turn the music up.
And then if the other guys are there, they're doing their fucking signature too. I got to hear it 3 more times. I got to put shit in my ears to not hear that sound. It fucks with me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Damn.
that's the only phobia that still fucks with me right now. Is that bullshit.
All right. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Bear.
Bear?
What?
Yeah, we were in Serbia. We were doing shows in Eastern Europe, and we went to this restaurant. They had bear. We're like, fuck it, let's try it.
What it tastes like? Like closer to goat or closer to beef?
It was like in between. It was kind of gamey, but it wasn't bad.
I hate gamey though.
Yeah,
Cause like goat, deer, like even rabbit. I'm like, why?
I don't really like gamey neither, but it wasn't bad. It was better than I thought it was going to be. We saw it on the menu. We're like, fuck it, let's try it. We all ordered something else, and that was something that we all just took a piece of. It was like a shared plate, and some
It's
liked
very
it. some didn't.
potheady to eat Smokey the Bear, isn't it?
It's ironic. But Dad, it's Smokey.
Right. Well, now Smokey's unemployed.
Yeah,
Smokey's.
Smokey's. Yeah, he's out of here right now.
Damn. He's gonna sell his own ass.
Yep.
Sorry.
He's expensive.
Was it expensive?
I
Is-
heard.
What is one thing you would stand in line an hour for?
In and out.
Really? What's your order?
We did.
What's your typical order at In-N-Out?
It wasn't my choice. We did it. We were in Vegas and we were like fucking trying to eat after we did all that bowling. We did 6 games of bowling, whatever.
Damn.
So everybody's hungry. And I suggested a sit down spot, but someone suggested In-N-Out, and we found ourselves waiting in the In-N-Out, not for 3 hours or an hour, but I mean, we were talking about it the other day. In-N-Out is so good that people will wait in that long ass line for it. And
Yeah.
the reason that conversation came up was because the Habit, right? It was the Habit.
Mhm.
No, it wasn't Fat Burger. The Habit got rated #1 over In-N-Out. And we were talking about it like, hey, I've never seen anyone build a line at the Habit and wait for like an hour in line for a fucking Habit burger. So I've
Yeah.
seen that for In-N-Out. I just did it. We weren't
Yeah.
there for an hour though. It was more like 20 minutes or something like that. But
Like it's rare if you don't see a line down
Yeah.
the street.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't see a line at that In-N-Out, something's wrong in that area.
Yeah.
They're closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
No, In-N-Out, I do think, though, it's also just like a cultural thing. Like, if you grew up going to In-N-Out and eating, you want that. Like, you crave it. Whereas Habit might have some sandwiches or some burgers that are very good, but you're like, you know, like,
I would
I
maybe
want an In-N-Out.
I would maybe wait
I want
20
an In-N-Out
minutes.
right now.
I maybe would wait 20 minutes. I don't know if I wait an hour because sometimes I get impatient. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not waiting this time for no fucking hour. I'm out of here.
I'm dead.
It takes encouragement for me to stay in a line that long. I'm like, man, unless it's a sporting event and we got there late and we're fucking having to deal with the shit, then it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Is there any gross smell that you actually enjoy?
No.
Whoa.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
No.
Yeah. I can't say.
I'm too sensitive to that. Like, fucking, no way.
Let's see. What superstitions do you believe in?
I don't know. I think if you're spiritual, you believe in all the superstitions pretty much. Because if you're open like that, you believe that anything is possible. So if someone's like got to hang up about walking under a ladder, they ain't gonna do it because they feel if they do it, something will actually manifest. And sometimes you actually do manifest that by thinking that, you know.
Yeah.
Some people won't walk over a water hose because they feel that's bad luck to them. You know what I mean? And so people,
Like, I didn't know that one.
yeah,
We
no,
have so many water
I
hoses.
know. I'm like, there's so many water hoses around here. Fuck.
yeah. I mean, it's what you tell yourself. The superstition exists depending on what you tell yourself, and some of the shit is real, and some of it is made up in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to determine what the fuck that is when it happens. But I think you get the feeling of when it's something random and something that's like a part of maybe I didn't do this the way I was supposed to do this, and this is the repercussion of it.
Yeah.
Like I fucking walked under the ladder and I didn't say the words that I'm supposed to say if I do that by accident or
Yeah.
some shit, you know. But I believe it's real for a lot of people, and some people don't believe in it at all. Athletes, a lot of them do, you know. They'll like fucking do certain things before games, or maybe they got a pair of sneakers that they wear that like they're not wearing anything else because they feel the mojo is in those sneakers and you know, little shit like that. So yeah, I think a lot of people are you know, superstitious in some ways. For me, I never really had superstitions like that like I actively do this or that, but I do believe in them, even though I don't necessarily participate. I'll walk under a ladder and not give a fuck.
Oh, I mean the splitting the pole with people. I do say bread and butter, and then I have I don't know, like that's what I've always wondered if it's superstition or just OCD of like I have certain rituals that I definitely do, like the yellow light and just, you know, pulling my hair it's because you never know when it's superstition or it's just OCD that you've done it so long that now you feel like if you stop, what are you going to stop? So I'm like, it could be OCD, but whatever it is, I mean, I respect people's,
Yeah,
you know, little things.
it could
Like,
be.
you know, you might be in love with someone, you're like, oh, they're perfect, but they have like this random ass, you know, thing where, you know,
Yeah, if it's not
whatever.
hurting anybody.
Yeah.
as long as
Yeah.
they're not hurting anybody.
Exactly.
That's the crazy part. And you're like, yo.
They're
Exactly.
Like, every time I pass a yellow light, I gotta punch this person.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. They're like, every time I check your phone, I gotta punch you in the face. You're like, yo, this is crazy. What are you
Yes.
doing?
Superstition.
That's my superstition.
No, but I do want to say, I mean, shit, did we hit the 1 hour? Yeah, we here,
We're
right?
at 3 hours.
Shut the fuck up.
Time flies when you're having a good time.
We have been having a good time. You for real? I'm so sorry, Be Real.
Oh, no worries.
You know, we've been here. We held him hostage, y'all.
It's what we do.
I know, no, but I do want to first of all, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for inviting me to
Thanks
yours.
for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for agreeing to do a 24-hour challenge. We will schedule that and make sure that it is perfect because I do think we can make some amazing fucking shit. I think it's the
Absolutely.
perfect time. So I also want to thank you genuinely for giving me perspective on just longevity in the industry because as you know, like I've been in this shit for a long time and at some point you get to like, where am I like OG in it? Where am I at like just being the bull in this industry, or where am I at, like, still proving myself? And I think you're someone who remains fresh in this, but also is so respectable in this industry that
Thank you.
people, you know what I'm saying? So it's like your flowers are there, you know what's up. And also thank you for introducing me to hobbies. Cause I'm gonna try to paintball. I'm gonna try to go bowling. I want to try some of these things. I don't know that I'm gonna eat bear, but I would
you
like
don't need to eat bear. You don't need that.
I do want to jump out of a plane, and if I could do it with a hip hop legend, it would be amazing. And if you can make that shit happen,
I will lock you in with
that is
with my man for sure.
so fucking dope. And also, yes, the Be Real Get Snow on the Burner. I think
yes, we must do that. We're not finished with that album, so we could totally make that happen.
we have that pending, and also me and Burner have been at a conversation, and I would love to involve you in that conversation. I think there's amazing things happening, and for hip hop history, Latinos, what's going on right now, how we can help in a very positive way of just representation and being who we are to this industry, I think is very important. So I will not talk any longer other than thanking you so much for being a part of this podcast. Thank you guys for supporting us. I'll leave you with the last word, and then we out.
Well, I want to say salute to everybody out there who watched and sends love and support. This is my sister right here. I will always back her play and support and give her the flowers because she deserves them. She's one of the baddest fucking MCs out there. Forget gender. Forget that. One of the baddest MCs out there right now. No matter what you fucking think, there's people out there not even doing it like a fraction of her level.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. Let's take our last
I got
cheers.
Much love for you.
And it means so
you
much from a motherfucking legend. So thank you guys. We out. It's lit. We appreciate you. See you next week.
Boom.
Esa niña no se aguanta. Quiere todo porque el pussy sabe a Fanta. Si la dejas por pendejo se te casa. Dale todo, dos de lengua y una horchata. Si te alcanza, I'm the shit, huh? Are you catching what I'm throwing for a pickup? Same bitch I always was, now I'm just richer. I'm about to shake it up, bitch, check the Richter. This a sticker. You say some things your numbers don't say. I got some kids with toys that don't play. Kilo de azúcar pa' mi conflakes. I don't need roses, pour me rosé. No soy santa, baby, yo soy vale madre, faca chancla. Lo que yo sí tengo mucho a ti te falta. Y si quieres yo te enseño con el ram pa pa pam, pam. No soy santa, baby, yo soy vale madre, faca chancla. Lo que yo sí tengo mucho a ti te falta. Y si quieres yo te enseño con el ram pa pa pam, pam. Don't try to play me, baby. I'm a michoacana, which means I've been a Mexican snack and I'll split your banana. Solo yo sé mi rollo guayaba, también sácate cana. Me encanta la línea de Fanta porque nadie me aguanta. Por eso I've been on my grind, I've been on my grind. They've been cold and I've been on, but my name's Snow, I got it. And it's ice on my chest, you can suck a paleta if you hate. Aquí se respeto, te empaco maleta por güey. No soy santa, baby, yo soy